Sup, bro? So, today, doing things a little bit different. No video games today, but you can think of this as like a dating sim, basically. What we're gonna do, well, I should probably explain the backstory. So, lately, I've been going in Tim Pool's and, yeah, this is Tim Pool's shit, right? Yeah. This is like his official page. I've been going on Tim Pool's and Kim Iversen's shit, and let me just show you how hot Kim Iversen is. Kim Iversen. Sorry, I'm so excited. I can't believe my plan actually worked. So I've been going on her videos and Tim Pool's videos and saying hashtag ship Kim and Tim. Now, what shipping is, it's you basically root for two characters or celebrities to hook up. That's all shipping is. So I'm just rooting for Tim Pool and Kim Iversen to hook up. Why? Well, I'm glad you asked. Let me. I actually have the info here. I need to copy this to somewhere else anyway. Should just be able to go here, right? Yeah. Okay. So, copy this. Why? The following reasons. First, both are radical centrist anti-establishment types. Tim Pool, his main thing is that he's like oh shit. No. First, obviously their first names rhyme. And by radical centrist anti-establishment, I mean they're called conservatives, but they're not really conservatives. They are closest probably to libertarian, but mainly they just don't like the establishment. That's kind of their MO. They're anti-establishment, and they try to not pick a side. They are milquetoast fence sitters, if you will. They both have careers as news commentators, obviously, so they also have similar life experiences in the present and in the past, because I'm also an ethnically ambiguous person. I'm actually a half Asian as well. And part of why we're like radical centrist is because throughout our entire lives we never had a team, because we're not really white, we're not really like Asian, we're not really like black. So like it kind of being ethnically ambiguous, like in race, it kind of forces you to be a radical centrist. And also, it helps to be a contrarian, because everyone's always fighting against you anyway, so why not fight back? It's just how we're not raised, how we experience life. Anyway, they're both, Tim Pool and Kim Iversen, are both unmarried in their late 30s and early 40s. Kim recently said that she needs to find a bunker to live in for World War III. Of course, she said this jokingly, but, I mean, there's always a little bit of truth in all humor. And then, obviously, Tim Pool is notorious for being a prepper. He has a heavily armed, compound that's totally self-sufficient. They produce their own electricity and their own eggs. And it's pretty hilarious. So, you obviously can see those there. So, yeah, close that. So yeah, don't forget. The important thing is that we are shipping Tim and Kim. Well, I don't know. We'll see how cringe this is. So, these are the metrics I'm using today. We have Timcringes. Tim, he's a bit of an incel, and every time he says something that makes me cringe personally, he will get a tick mark right here. Hopefully it doesn't happen too much, but you know, it probably will. Kimcringes, same thing for Kim. Good vibes every time they are vibing together. Lols, every time I crack up, which is going to be a lot. Lols, every time it's boring. I hope that's not too many. And Ian trolls. Every time Ian Crossland, who is another character on Timcast IRL, every time, so he like just says something to troll Tim all the time. It's like part of the fun of the show. So, yeah, and I guess I'll have an overall rating at the end. Overall rating of their date update. Oh man, I'm gonna lol so fucking hard. And this isn't really a comedy, so obviously all lols are consolidated. and I'll delete these eventually, but I'll just leave them up for now. So to start, let's do a bit of prep work, a bit more prep work, I should say. Oh, and before we start, obviously you need a word from today's sponsor. This is the cheapest fucking caffeine, 300 milligrams. They say it's 0 calories, but that's not actually true, because what's gonna happen is I'm gonna get diarrhea. So it's actually negative calories. The only drink with negative calories. And what's it called? G Fuel. Yep. So yeah, part of my state is obviously that I'm super excitable, because I'm just really happy that my shitty meme is actually changed the world. Maybe not for the better, but the world is definitely different now. Oh my god. Anyway, cat's over there for some reason. I don't know when she'll be back. So let's look at this thumbnail first of all. This thumbnail doesn't look too promising. It's almost as if they deliberately picked a, so Tim over here, he looks like kind of, jaded, and he's like, this bitch. And then Kim, this is just like one of the worst pictures of Kim I've ever seen. It really seems intentional. However, Tim, he has done a lot of research on how to be a Chad. So one of the things they tell you is, men don't smile in Tinder picture. Let's see what this says. Okay, that wasn't useful. This is what I'm looking for. So they did a study, and men apparently should not smile because it's like a sign of submission or something. And, like stoic man. Like, women seem to prefer, stoic men to, happy men. Let's look up happy man. Yeah, so which one do you think is... I mean, obviously... It's difficult for me to rate male attractiveness. These all look goofy, and then these all look like hot, like male models, right? I mean, I think that's what's going on. I mean, this guy doesn't look very stoic, but yeah, being neutral, being like a rock, like women generally seem to prefer that. Oh wait, I should probably pull out a shot. I should have done this earlier. Whoa. Pop out. Okay. We're popped out. Almost done. I'm sorry for this. Shit. Okay. Just in case I get a single viewer. Okay. So I think that's all clear. I made a comment about the thumbnail. Now, let's start the show. And I don't want to keep this open because it'll be kind of obnoxious.
Jussie Smollett is going to jail. He was in the courtroom and he was ranting. And he was saying, I'm not crazy, institution, you're the one. No, what actually happened was he was sentenced to 150 days in jail, 30 months of probation, and then he yelled out that he's not suicidal and that he didn't do it. And now everyone's making a meme about it. So Jussie Smollett will be in jail. We'll talk about that. We got a bunch of crazy news, man. Facebook's basically getting rid of their rules. Facebook says you're allowed to call for violence so long as it's against Russians and Vladimir Putin. I'm wondering if YouTube will allow that too, because that, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna abuse that. I'm gonna abuse it like crazy. I'm gonna be like, oh,
Chad.
I'm gonna say it. Okay, but until we get the go ahead from YouTube that the rules no longer apply so long as you're calling for the death of a Russian. Wow, isn't it crazy? That's where we're at. We've also got the censorship getting absolutely insane. DuckDuckGo has announced they'll be censoring their search feed, basically destroying their entire value proposition with a single tweet.
Done with them.
And then here's where it gets crazy: The Hill got censored.
Oh, that's Kim Iversen's thing.
So we'll talk about that. And joining us to actually clarify as to what happened, why The Hill got censored, is Kim Iversen.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah. So who are you? What do you do?
Well, I'm Kim, and I'm on The Hills Rising. I also have my own YouTube channel, and also on Rumble and Locals and all those other places and whatnot. So, but yeah, we just I'm here in the DC area because I came back. I was actually supposed to be here on Monday to be in studio for The Hills Rising, which I've been hosting since last July, but because of COVID, I wasn't in the studio. The other two hosts were in the studio, Ryan Grimm and Robbie Suave, and we've had a rotating cast of hosts this whole time, but they wanted me to come into the studio.
Talking too much, but she's nervous, so that's also a good
suddenly
sign.
We got the notification that the channel had been suspended.
For reporting the news.
For reporting the news. 7-day suspension, no uploading of content, no live streaming. This is The Hill. This is a major news organization, and the entire channel was suspended. And it was because what had happened was the channel a year ago had actually aired. So we have Rising on the channel, but then also The Hill just airs footage. And there's no commentary. There's no host. It's not a podcast or anything like that. It's just raw footage, like C-SPAN style. And a year ago, they aired raw footage from CPAC and some of the speeches that were at CPAC. And they got a strike for doing that. And then being a news organization, The Hill said, we're airing more CPAC. So they aired CPAC this year, raw footage again, did it again, thinking we're a news organization. We should be able to air footage from what would be newsworthy speeches. And then Rising did a segment about Trump talking on Laura Ingram's show, talking about Vladimir Putin, how he's a genius. I don't know if you saw that clip.
Yeah.
And in that clip, he says something, he says things.
Says things about the election that
right.
you're not allowed to say.
We know he always says these. He makes the same claims over and over and over again, right? It's a Trump thing to do. And he made a claim, and because the segment on Rising was about what he said about Vladimir Putin, and it was about Ukraine, no one on the panel, no one in the discussion immediately said that fake, that is fact check, and it popped in and immediately fact checked the claim, which is what you have to do according to YouTube's guidelines, their election misinformation guidelines, is you have to immediately in real time say that is not true. What he's saying is fake news.
Well,
nobody did that.
This is the current state of media, but it's okay. It's okay. If you're calling for the death of Russians,
Yeah.
now Facebook says that's good. So we'll talk about that. I also
And Twitter clearly must allow that as well.
Yes.
Okay,
Well,
they're vibing a little bit.
They
It's a little bit of a
already,
vibe.
So. But I also want to talk to you about
this counter-vibing.
you tweeted recently about voting straight ticket Republican. So we'll get into all that. That was interesting. And but we'll get into it. We also have Seamus hanging out.
I am here on the show
Oh
tonight.
shit! Okay, so this is like the this Christian Catholic guy who he keeps on making jokes about being the love doctor, but no, I am the LOVEref. You can't steal my thing, dude. Even though you're already way more famous than me.
Glad to be back. I run a YouTube channel called Freedom Tunes. For those of you who are not familiar with me and my work, we just released a cartoon today about the genocide in Yemen that the United States government has been funding
and then
the
we're gonna
Saudis
skip the sponsor
to carry out. So if you guys want to check
because
that out,
his sponsors aren't
Four.
jokes.
Jussie Smollett sentenced to 150 days in jail,
Oh my gosh.
30 months of probation, and here's the
that's
best part.
nothing.
Following the
Also-
sentencing, he's
Okay, just side joke. That's not really a punishment for Jussie Smollett because he's gay, so he's just gonna get his ass pounded in prison. And be like, wow, like I usually have to pay like $3,000 like per dick for this kind of rough sex.
screamed, "I am not suicidal, and I did not do it." He's also going to have to pay the city of Chicago $120,000 in restitution and was fined $25,000. So he's still saying he's innocent. I think his life is basically over, but
He clearly thinks so too.
yeah.
Otherwise, he wouldn't have yelled out, "I'm not suicidal." He thinks he's going to get Epsteined.
I think you're going to be fine, Jussie.
That's not why he said that. So he said that because he had a noose around his neck, like in the Jussie Smollett like scandal, and the claim is that he put the noose around his own neck, but not to kill himself, just to make it look like some other people were trying to kill him. But obviously, he was just doing it for attention. He wasn't doing it for like suicidal reasons or anything.
Yeah, that's really sad.
I don't
Is
think he's
the
that
guy
important.
planning on like killing himself and making it seem like someone else did it? That's insane. Who would be trying
Wow, are
to
they
kill
really
him?
all that
What kind
stupid?
of paranoia would lead him to think that anyone out there is trying to suicide him in prison?
Now we're getting into crazy conspiracy territory because there was already crazy conspiracy theories around what he did, because at the time those two Nigerian Trump supporters attacked him, so he claimed, and he still asserts his innocence. Kamala Harris was advocating for this lynching bill, which I believe just passed, didn't it?
It did pass, yeah. Tim
And
Scott
so
helped, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people were like, isn't that weird that this thing happened to Smollett at the same time and he's friends with these people? Look, I think the guy was staging a hoax to bolster his career.
Yes.
You know, you don't need to draw a bigger conspiracy than that. You know what I mean? But for him to come out and scream he's not suicidal when the conspiracy was already that he was like colluding with Democrats to pass laws or whatever, which is a bit absurd, you know, in and of itself. Maybe he's playing that up.
Yeah.
Maybe he's trying to make people think that, you know, I don't know, there's a conspiracy against him or something.
He strikes me
Yeah.
as a really, really scared person.
Yeah.
You know, in
Yeah.
general. So,
Yeah.
He can also obviously just be completely insane. I don't know, but that's just a very bizarre response.
The
to
dude's
what's happening.
clearly insane.
Well,
Like-
I mean, if you're going into for one, it's scary to go to prison, right? So of
Yeah,
course
yeah.
he's extremely
Yeah,
scared,
yeah.
and he doesn't know what's going to happen to him. You worry about your safety when you're going to prison.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if it has to be some super big conspiracy of thinking, oh, the government's after me, or it's somebody,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and they're going to Epstein me in prison or something. I mean, I think it could just be as simple as people are angry with him for staging a crime
Mm-hmm.
when there's real racism in the world, and he's now faking it in order to get attention, and it upsets people.
That's a good point. He
Yeah.
might just
Okay.
go to
So
jail.
I was about to say, if Tim agrees, that's a good vibe. So every time like a contrarian explicitly agrees with you, that actually just indicates that they like you and that you're cool. And this guy and Kim are both like literally professional contrarians.
jail, and there might be some guy who's like, you have set us back,
Yeah.
you know, how many years with civil rights?
Yeah,
and
that's
just
true.
be like, he's not going to prison, he's going to jail. So if he's in Chicago, I think he might go to county over at like 26 in California. I think that's where it's at, which is really bad.
He's not going to go away for that very long, though. 150
150
days.
days.
He's going to be out. I mean,
He's
how
lucky,
long
though.
do you think he's going to actually serve of 150 days?
But of that,
Sorry, quick camera check because this shit keeps on fucking up. There we go.
that felony charge, he can't travel anymore. I mean, it's going to be really difficult for him to travel internationally. So here's my understanding about Chicago. I don't know. I think they'll put him in Cook County jail. I think it's at 26 in California. It's on the south side. What I'm told from all the people who are down there, you're probably going to be fine. It's a pretty bad spot, but everyone's scared because when you're there, in Illinois, you can only go to jail for just under 1 year, so 364 days. If you hit 365, you have to go to prison.
I think I'm gonna add a Timchad. So every time Tim says something that makes him a Chad, like because women aren't really supposed to do the aggressive part of flirting, I don't think it's entirely necessary to have like a Kim cute or a Kim Chad. So I'll just have Tim Chads for now. If she gets really like flirtatiously aggressive, I'll definitely add something. She seems to be in like good spirits. She seems like happy and smiling, and so does Tim. Totally not what I was expecting based on the thumbnail. So every time Tim, wait. So one thing Tim Pool does that's hilarious. Every time he like is like smug, like he does this with his clothes. He goes psh, with his like shirt jacket. So actually I'm just gonna include that in Timchads. Every time Tim flicks his jacket, flicks his shirt. What do you call that? A shirt jacket? It's just a shirt. It's just a shirt. It's a button shirt. Flicks his shirt or does something alpha. Does something alpha. Yeah, I'll make that and or. Okay. Okay. So notice, I'll point out.
So prison is a year more. At least that's my understanding. I could be wrong about this. So for people who are at Cook County, just in jail, they're like, hey man, I don't want any trouble, man. I'm going to get out. You know what I mean? Don't screw around, because they'll charge you with something and then push it longer and then send you to like Joliet or something like that. I think he's going to be fine. I think he's going to go to jail and he's going to complain about it. Him screaming he's not suicidal, to me, sounds more like a spoiled rich guy who doesn't know what real hardship is. And he's probably freaking out like, oh, man, they're going to kill me in prison. Oh.
Yeah, that's fair. That's probably more,
I was looking at some of the quotes from the judge. One is, your very name has become an adverb for lying. Another one is, you were throwing a national pity party for yourself.
Yikes.
I didn't listen to it yet, but this is...
He's not wrong.
No.
Well, here's my question, you guys. 150 days in jail. Too long?
No.
Just too long.
No, not for a federal crime like this. The guy...
I don't think it was federal, was it?
Really? It was just like...
You mean felony?
A felony.
It's a felony. There's a difference.
Okay.
Federal is like when you cross state lines into it.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
No, not
It's
federal.
it was multiple felonies.
I don't think that's right. Felony is definitely a federal crime. So this might be a Tim cringe. Oh, well, maybe he's right. A felony is traditionally considered a crime of high seriousness. Well, Jussie Smollett's thing wouldn't be high serious. And it's regarded as a misdemeanor is less serious. Blah, blah, blah. Following conviction, a person may be described as a felon. Okay, so I guess Tim's right. All right, well, you get a Timchad for refuting Ian.
It was definitely
it's like
felonious.
4.
I mean, I don't care who you are. At some point, well, I guess if you're the president, it's not illegal. But at some point, because copycats will come along and do what he did if they don't punish the guy.
Guess if you're the president, it's not illegal to lie. Yep, that's so true, Ian.
There's got to be another way to punish them than just jail. I mean, I know we're a society that just really loves to incarcerate people, but I just think that there's maybe another way. I mean, this guy's not a danger to anyone. And we have overcrowding in prisons. We incarcerate everybody for everything. And I just think certain crimes, when you're not an actual danger. I mean, I'm not afraid of this guy.
See,
if I
Tim
cross him in the
says that he
street,
agrees.
what is he going to do to me? Nothing. What is he going to do to you? I mean, I understand. I think he should pay for what he's done. But I think there's maybe another way to do it than to just incarcerate.
Yeah, he's not physically violent, a physical violent threat, but his mind is dangerous because he got cops to waste their time and take them away from people that could have needed their help.
Totally.
Exactly. And I mean, as a rich celebrity, paying a fine isn't necessarily going to be the worst thing in the world for him. This is someone who literally just smeared half of the country by insinuating that because they were Trump supporters, they wanted to hurt him. And that it's a fact that there are just these roving Trump supporters going around the country in Democrat-run cities like Chicago
At 2
trying
a.m.
to lynch people at 2 in the morning.
So how about he gets sentenced to attending every Trump rally?
Right, something
Yeah.
like that. Or like public shaming like they do in China.
But
Washing Trump's shoes.
here's the thing. That would provide him with so many opportunities to come up with fake hate crime stories, and the Democrats would believe every single one. They'd be like, just because he lied once doesn't mean
that's
these
true.
other ones aren't true.
There's got to be something else, though.
I agree with you. I don't think
Re-education
prisons-
camps?
For some reason, I was watching 60 Days In last night, this reality show I'd never heard of until last night about people going undercover into prison. And I was like, it's real. It's like, finally, I've never been in prison, and I didn't really understand what it is until last night. I'm starting to get an idea of how stuck together all these people are in the higher. Immediately you get in and it's like just gang warfare, basically.
Oh, yeah, for
I don't
sure.
think it's good for people like Jussie. It doesn't make sense.
No, and there's other ways to punish people other than right now it is just prison or fines. I mean, I'm saying there are other ways, and there's other countries
yeah.
that have figured out other ways.
Yeah,
And-
it's called like probation, which is also the part of the punishment he's getting. He's probably gonna have some community service too. Thing is, community service never actually. They never usually enforce. They never like really force you to work. They kind of just like they give you a task and then they are like, okay, you gotta move all these boxes to the other side of the room. Here, you gotta be here for 8 hours, and then you sit there for 8 hours and you look at your phone, and then they like sign off on your worksheet. But I don't think community service is really a good way to punish people either. All I learned from community service is how I will never get a job, like a real job, because it is just bullshit. It's nothing but bullshit.
then we would just have to have a discussion on how moral they are.
Well,
Is there
what,
anything
for
in
instance?
particular you'd
Well,
recommend?
like China literally just did a public shaming event where they made the people, they marched them down the street and they had to wear signs, and there was a parade of people looking at them, and the sign, you know, said what they had done, and there was
Yeah, but that's
So
a
here's the
struggle
thing. Yeah,
session.
well,
But
we
I'm not
have,
saying that's exactly what we would do,
in-
but we would have some discussion on what would be the ethical or moral thing to do that doesn't involve necessarily prison or a fine, you know, get out of jail free card or get out of a jail.
17 years of hard labor and breaking rocks.
Well, I mean, in the United States, we have a much more humane method of public humiliation where we take people who are never given a trial and then our media just smears them for arguing against the narrative.
It's great.
Well, that's what they argued. Like his defense attorney said that he's already had his reputation and life destroyed. He's suffered
Exactly.
enough.
And of course, I'm not trying to make light of China or their tactics for punishment, but Jesse Smollett has clearly been publicly humiliated.
At the end of this thing, he yells out, "I didn't do it."
Yeah.
Like, come on,
That's
he
also
did
true.
it
No,
though,
that's,
didn't he?
and that's a very good point. He hasn't accepted responsibility for the crime yet. It's hard to be sympathetic to him.
Right.
Yeah.
He should go to jail until he admits that he did it.
Oh my gosh, now we're talking.
I'm
communist.
absolutely joking about all right.
Wow.
All you gotta
Okay,
do is say you did it.
Do you see that? Like just now? Let's see if I can. Okay, I want you to watch Tim Pool's show.
Hard to be sympathetic to him.
Right.
Yeah.
He should go to jail until he admits that he did it.
Oh
What a
my
cool thing to
gosh,
say.
now we're talking.
I'm
communist.
absolutely joking about all right.
Wow.
Do you see that? Do you see that? He always does that whenever he like thinks whatever he says is cool. And hey, I thought it was cool. That was a cool thing to say. Everyone started laughing. I mean, they might always be laughing because he's their employer, but still, it counts as a Timchad in my book. So just pay attention to that.
All you got to do is say you did it and you can go home.
Yeah, that's fine.
I did it. Oh, you're going to prison now. You confessed.
Oh.
You know, the thing about jail, I think they're completely broken. Sending, you know, you get these young men, they'll go to prison for some petty crime or some relatively minor offense, but enough to warrant prison. And then they come out hardened. They come out just mixing all of these people who are of a criminal element. So I don't know what the answer is, but I think the reason we just do prison and fines is because you're not allowed to engage. The U.S. cannot engage in cruel and unusual punishment. So unusual simply means out of the ordinary. We need to have a set system where it's like everybody has to be, abide by the same kind of punishment. The problem, I suppose, is we've grown to view prison as punishment or retribution instead of rehabilitation.
Yep.
People want justice, and to most people, they want you to suffer. And that's a problem. There's a video I watched. It's crazy. This guy murders this young girl. He's in court, and he's sitting there, and he's like a serial killer. And this was like a viral video on Reddit. And all of these people are yelling at him like, you're a monster and what you've done. And he's just stone-faced the whole time. And then finally, this guy comes up and he's like, I forgive you for what you've done.
Wow.
And then the murderer just starts bawling and crying and freaking out. And it's like, man, maybe we need to reassess as a society what our goals are with people who break the law.
So I hear what you're saying, and I place a lot of emphasis and value on forgiveness as a Christian. I think it's unbelievably important.
Incorrect. If you cared about forgiveness so much, nobody would go to hell.
We also can't engage in a kind of false mercy, which refuses to punish crime, because then what happens is more people commit crimes.
Also,
against
if you're Christian, then why do you need punishment anyway? Isn't God supposed to be the only one who punishes people? That's what I thought. Maybe religion's not actually real.
innocent victims, and there's more human suffering generated overall.
I don't know if that's true.
I think it is.
Nice.
Yeah, if there are no
Nice. Okay, well, fuck it. She's getting to Kim cute. I'm changing. This already seems good. I don't think I'm going to use bad vibes. So I'll just use the cringe metrics for any bad vibes that occur. So Kim cutes is anytime Kim says something cool or cute. Anytime, every time Kim says something cool and or cute. I'm sorry I'm laughing so much. I'm really in a good mood. I can't believe my shitty meme worked.
criminal punishments for crimes, of course, people are going to be more likely to commit crimes, and you're going to have more innocent victims who are harmed.
I mean, I agree that you have to have punishment for a crime, but I don't know if saying, well, we're going to punish, we're going to criminalize. The more we criminalize, then something you'll be deterred from doing it because we've criminalized it. I mean, we've seen evidence of that not being the case.
It depends. I mean, look, I know a lot of people who are afraid
Correct.
to go to any kind of protest event because of the way the United States government has come down on people for the January 6th events, even though they hadn't even done anything violent. So people are afraid of prison time, including people who aren't doing anything wrong or planning on doing anything wrong.
I think they start off that way. I agree. I think that there is a chilling effect at first, but then people start to relax a little bit and they figure out workarounds. And then they start doing those workarounds.
I think it can happen. Again, I mean, I would argue that prison time or the potential for prison time is a pretty strong incentive against committing a crime. I also agree with you that it's not perfect. And it's a very complicated system because the United States does have a very large share of prisoners compared to other countries. I don't exactly know what the solution to that problem is, but I do think punishment is not necessarily a bad thing.
I got it.
Yes.
Compromise between the left and the right.
Okay, do you see how like Tim is like more animated? He doesn't usually. He'll like do like I got it like occasionally. Sometimes he'll be like energetic and like snapping and pointing, like, you know, attention grabbing things. But like that is a and also I wonder who he's like who his eyes are pointing to right now. I bet he snapped and his eyes first went to Kim to see her reaction.
We abolish prisons and prison sentences, and we abolish the ATF and all gun laws. There you go. Problem solved.
No.
I don't know about that.
No deal. No deal.
No, all the criminals can leave, and I can walk around New York City armed.
Well,
and that's a
deal.
That was
compromise.
okay. So that was pretty cringe because most reasonable people aren't like, I want the world to be a like lawless like gun utopia. I guess it wouldn't be utopia. Like, so whenever people say like the hardcore like anarcho-libertarian stuff, some girls are okay with it, but those are exclusively girls who are already dating a libertarian guy. Every other woman, they do not want to have to kill other people. Like, just in their day-to-day life. Like having the reason why cops are good, actually, is because most women and most, like, you know, like, not, like, retarded people don't want to kill people. They don't want to have the constant threat of needing to kill someone. Like, if someone, you know, like, steals a bag of chips, you don't want to have to aim a gun at someone. Like, it's not fun to have to aim a gun at people. Well, unless you're a sociopath. So, that was a cringe. Sorry, bud.
And I will say this about the prison system. One unbelievably massive, glaring problem is how rampant sexual assault is behind bars in many places, and how that isn't really...
I'm gonna just give fucking Samus cringe fucking category. Ian Trolls / Samus cringe. And his name is Samus also. It's not Seamus, it's now Samus. Samus cringe. Actually, I should have a separate category. He deserves it because he's such a fucking dumbass. It's not clear who Samus is. Samus cringe. Every time Samus wow. Seamus. Is that how you spell Seamus? That is how you spell Seamus, right? Yeah. Okay. Seamus says some gay Christian thing. And we got one of those.
Something that's sorted out. And I think there's a good argument to be made that knowing that someone is likely to be sexually assaulted in prison and then sending them there could be argued to be a cruel and unusual punishment. It's not exactly the same because you're not guaranteed it's going to happen, but most people are afraid of going to prison for that specific reason.
But I don't know if we've ever cared about cruel and unusual punishment when it comes to prisons. I mean, for goodness sakes, we electrocuted people for a long time. Do you know how barbaric that sounds? I mean, just looking back, who was the guy that thought...
Well, but to kill him, though, right?
Well, so that's... And that we thought...
Okay, now she got a cringe because Tim's like, what are you talking about?
for whatever reason that was a good idea, a humane idea, a moral or ethical idea to electrocute a person to death.
Well, look
I mean, there are other ways to kill a person.
Look at lethal injection, right? What's the idea behind lethal injection? It's humane. I was reading one study that said lethal injection, and maybe this is wrong, so I'm not an expert on this. They give you 3 injections, I'm pretty sure, 3 different drugs. The first one paralyzes you because the next one's excruciatingly painful, and they don't want you to be able to show it.
Yeah.
So still, are there any states that allow firing squad?
There should be.
Utah does firing
Alaska.
squad.
Yeah.
I'm opposed to the death penalty outright, 100%. So
If we're gonna have it, firing squad's the best way.
We should be killing people at all, but
Yeah, part of this conversation is like punishing crime. I kind of agree, but then who decides what's legal and what's not legal? That's the danger.
the legislative bodies of America.
Yeah, or the executive order or something like that. And they're like, now walking on the left side of the street is illegal. And if you did it yesterday, you're retroactively guilty.
Well, let's not give them ideas, please.
No.
This is crazy.
This is an excellent. Hold on. This is an excellent segue.
So whenever Kim says something that makes the group laugh, that would be a Kim cute. Obviously, that's the equivalent of Timchad.
Evil.
Yes, this is an excellent segue into this other story. We were initially going to lead with this one. Then the juicy Smollier stuff broke. But check this out. Reuters says Facebook temporarily allows posts on Ukraine war calling for violence against invading Russians or Putin's death.
What?
That to me is absolutely amazing. They say Meta platforms will allow Facebook and Instagram users in some countries to call for violence against Russians and Russian soldiers.
So civilians and soldiers.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
In the context of the Ukraine invasion. What does that mean?
What does that mean?
Does that mean you can be like, I just plain don't like the invasion, and then say just kill civilians or something?
Like every Russian should pay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Until when? And the thing that I don't understand about all of these sanctions and even just these ideas that you got to take it out on Russians. And I even saw this video that was circulating of this group in Canada that was painting. They were vandalizing a Russian community center. And they were painting all over it blue and yellow. And it's just, okay, if we in the West continue to assert and believe that Vladimir Putin is a dictator and that that they don't live in a democracy, then why would we take anything out on the people? What purpose is that? Because you only do that if you think the people are then going to turn around and...
So, do you hear what Tim just said? Well, let's rewind the tape.
Continue to assert and believe that Vladimir Putin is a dictator and that that they don't live in a democracy, then why would we take anything out on the people? What purpose is that? Because you only do that.
Agreed. No, that was not Tim. So she does not earn a Kim cute. Tim has to either say he agrees or the whole group has to laugh. That'd be a Kim cute. And equivalent for Timchad. Are these? Oh, bummer.
If you think the people are then going to turn around and pressure their government, or you're punishing them for voting that government in like they were a democracy and look at the bad choice you people made. Right. But if you don't believe it's a democracy, then what are you doing?
Well, so the reason I think this was an excellent segue from the previous segment, Ian was talking about how there could be an executive decree like, okay, now this thing is not allowed anymore. In this instance, we're seeing what happens when we end up in corporatocracy, where our social discussions, our society is being ruled by technocrats in Silicon Valley who change the rules on a whim.
Mark Zuckerberg, apparently.
They'll say, you can't do...
Why do you pronounce whim like that? Let's rewind the tape.
Our social discussions, our society is being ruled by technocrats in Silicon Valley who change the rules on a whim.
Why would you do that? It's so douchey.
Mark
Zuckerberg, apparently. They'll say, you can't do these things that are against the rule. And then when they want to enact massive societal change, they'll come out and be like, you are now allowed, peasants. Do as we say.
Yeah.
That's creepy. And
I see. Calling for violence against invading Russians.
That's not what it says. No. Russians and Russian soldiers in the context of Ukraine invasion. What
so
that
as long
means...
as you frame it that way.
It depends on what it means. So we'll have to see the exact policy. They say, as a result of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, we have temporarily made allowances for forms of political expression that would normally violate our rules, like violent speech, such as, quote, death to Russian invaders. We still won't allow credible calls for violence against Russian civilians. Okay, that's an important distinction.
Except who's a Russian invader?
Right. The Russian military. What about a guy who's like in Vladivostok, who's like chilling on a boat? So
yeah,
now,
or the guy making the steel, like in the middle of the country that is getting shipped to make the tanks. He's part of the war machine now, even though he's a civilian. But they're pretty clear that they don't want to target civilians.
But again, the definition of a civilian is where it gets really muddy. And that's what's going on even with the war, when they're talking about, oh, these civilians are being killed in Ukraine. And it's like, well, okay, but what do you classify? Who do you classify as a civilian when they're
pretty clear that they don't want to target civilians?
But again, the definition of a civilian is where it gets really muddy. And that's what's going on even.
Well, Seamus is stealing Tim's thunder. He's the one agreeing with her so much. It sounds like.
With the war.
Watch out, Tim. Tim, don't let Seamus... Because Seamus is like... So this Freedom Tunes guy... He's like super horny. Like pretty much every other time he comes on the show, he starts talking about like dating and relationships and how modern women are ruined. And it's pretty funny because he's like just clearly a hyper incel, but he doesn't give a fuck, which is why he is, relatively wealthy and relatively famous, but he still lacks a GF.
About, oh, these civilians are being killed in Ukraine, and it's like, well, okay, but who do you classify as a civilian when they're conscripting everybody, giving them a gun, telling them to fight? So if every male 18 to...
So I see one problem. So I did keep on suggesting earlier, like when I was doing my Ship Kim and Tim campaign, that they're both in their mid-30s. But I discovered recently that Kim is actually 41. And that's basically over the hill. I didn't realize that partially because on her YouTube videos, she gets like a professional makeup artist. It looks like here she didn't get a professional makeup job. So she's not looking like how I at least normally saw her. However, Tim Pool is bald, and I hope he doesn't wear his beanie when he's fucking girls. That'd be pretty cringe. And that would like make it more reasonable that like a successful man would date a 41-year-old. Like she's pretty hot, and like she can just like leave her makeup on from work every day. Like I'm sure that's what a lot of actresses do.
To 60 years old is given a weapon and told to go fight. Now his civilian
Militia.
is no longer. But I think they might be counting them as civilians.
No, for sure, I agree. But you'd have to call them militia. You'd have to say like, Russians kill 12 militia. They're not doing that because it's all a big propaganda machine.
Sure.
This stuff scares me because
she agreed with what he said. Another Timchad.
It sounds. Some people would argue it's reasonable. Oh, but we're talking about war and violence, and I'm like, I don't care. We have two problems here. One, I don't think you should be calling for the death of people. I think you can say, we're being invaded and I will defend myself and defend my country. That I understand. But to be like, I am calling for the death of this group or whatever. The other issue is that the rules of our society and what ideas are allowed are being dictated by technocrats who are unelected. Now, that's a scary prospect. You want to claim Vladimir Putin is bad because he's a dictator? I'll be like, sure. What about our society being dominated by Facebook and Google? How much industry is digital now? How many people have jobs that are based on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter or whatever? And these companies, but with private platforms, they can just eliminate you from your entire job, gone in an instant, because they decided it.
But do you think they're the ones deciding, or do you think the politicians are pressuring them? Because then it really does become a First Amendment issue if they're making policy decisions based on the pressure they're getting from politicians because they're afraid of regulation.
I think it's both.
Yeah, that was my thought too. Both.
It just seems like from a platform perspective, you'd want no regulation whatsoever. You'd want just people to say whatever and you wouldn't care because that brings more people to your platform.
Yeah, so my biggest question is who would be wanting to make it so that you can say this about Russia?
Well, hold on.
Yeah.
We have an update. We have news.
An answer.
The temporary policy changes on calls for violence to Russian soldiers applies to Armenia, Azerbaijan, Estonia, Georgia, Hungary, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, Romania, Russia, Slovakia, and Ukraine, according to one email. That means if you're a Russian citizen in Russia, you can be calling for the death of your own military. If you are Polish, NATO country, or Lithuania, or Latvia, or Estonia, you can call for death. It's very,
Interesting.
very weird.
Yeah.
Zuckerberg for sure wants Ukraine to win the war. I mean, he's bought into the propaganda, and
don't
he's
think
an
it's him.
ideologue.
Yeah, I don't think it's Zuckerberg personally.
No.
He owns
Yeah,
like
but I do
60%
care.
of the
Didn't we have
company. He makes all the decisions.
Didn't we have the Biden administration actively pressuring social media companies to remove vaccine misinformation?
Yes.
We know that the United States government is above doing this kind of thing. However, I will say to your point asking about whether Zuckerberg could have any motivation to avoid regulation, it's interesting because Facebook has actually been pushing for certain regulations surrounding speech codes online. I think it might actually be advantageous for them in some ways, depending upon what the legislation is, because then people aren't angry with them as a company when they ban people, and they won't be likely to go to competitors. They'll just see it as a large overarching thing, and then those regulations that Facebook loves to place in its terms of service become policy for the entire country. So small people who might compete with Facebook by having a more free speech platform won't be able to do so.
Or they're just trying to get into the China market.
That's possible as well. Absolutely.
I actually think that's really what's going on with Google, Twitter, and Facebook, is they're trying to get into the China market. And they were banned back in 2011. China said, you can't come into our country because you're not willing to censor. And their response was, we're an American company. We have American values. We don't censor. And now that's obviously changed.
Yeah.
Censorship. It's here, man.
It's coming.
Yeah.
they're more than fine with it.
DuckDuckGo announced it. We'll get into that in a little bit.
Yes.
I
They
can't
just
believe
destroyed
that. That is
themselves.
so
Why would
terrible.
I-
That's
yeah, exactly.
what I use.
Yeah, when
Why
he's
would I
rolling
use
out.
DuckDuckGo ever again?
Wait, or like, are Seamus and Kim vibing? This is getting fucking exciting. Actually,
Through this.
What's the
It's-
better search engine?
you just have to like watch this shit in the right way. That's how you can enjoy anything.
I don't know.
Brave has their own search.
Brave's a
Brave
brow.
a good
Oh, it
search
does?
Yeah. They have
Someone tweeted that, but you know, I want to. We'll stay a little bit focused on this because there's another bit of
Okay,
news.
keeping the group focused. As a leader myself, that is a Chad thing to do, and I'm sure he's doing that more because there's a hot Happa babe with thick, plump lips.
Related to this, we talked about it with Majid Nawaz. Facebook previously allowed you to praise one Nazi group, the Azov Battalion.
Yeah.
So if you were actively praising Nazis on Facebook, so long it was the Ukrainian soldiers, that was allowed.
Isn't that crazy?
too.
You can't praise the swastika. They're afraid of the swastika, but not Nazism. Just the swastika.
No.
Although they have a swastika.
It's like that diagonal one.
Yeah.
And it's like
Ian just stole his thunder. Damn, dude. Tim's getting fucking cucked. He's getting double
half a
cucked.
swastika with
the Azov Battalion.
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
their
no, but
symbol.
Facebook is like, okay, this time it's fine.
That's so crazy.
That's crazy.
The enemy
All
of my
of these
enemy is my
people-
friend.
All of these people putting the Ukrainian flags in their profiles, who just last month were like, we got to fight the fascists, are now like, well, these fascists
They're
are.
okay.
That's just crazy.
When Nawaz was here, he pointed out that what's happening is people from around the world are going to join Azov to fight, and then they're becoming radicalized and learning how to fight this with a terrorist group, and then they're going to go home radicalized and create their own little pockets of Azov or Nazism or whatever. That's his fear. I guess he's seen it before. I mean, it's not uncommon.
It's an interesting
Saw it with
point.
ISIS too.
Well, we already saw this sort of, this is just another proxy war that we're having with Russia right now in Ukraine. And it actually mimics a lot what we did in, this is the new Afghanistan. Get out of one war to start another, just got to replace the Afghanistan war. And this is very similar to what happened in Afghanistan in the 80s, because what the U.S. government was doing, the Carter administration started it, and then it continued on with Reagan, was funding the Mujahideen.
Yep.
And that they were fighting the Russians because the Russians were with the at the time.
Okay, so I'm gonna start recording Samus. So Samus cringes are gonna also be every time he says some gay Christian thing, or agrees with Kim. So far he's like been three. That was his third like explicit agreement. And I'm just like gonna collapse that into gay Christian things because like Seamus is pretty annoying. Maybe I can, yeah. Quick check. Okay, maybe not like that. Do I care though? I don't care. I guess I just don't care. That's the problem with not giving a fuck.
The Afghan government brought in the Russian military to fight, and the Mujahideen was fighting against the Russians. We armed the Mujahideen. We trained them. We didn't go in. We didn't fight the Russians specifically. We let them do it, and they were battling their own country. They were trying to get their own country back from the Soviets, right?
Freedom fighters.
And we boasted that we had given Russia their own Vietnam by entangling them. Yes, because it was well understood that the Vietnam War was horrible for America, both in terms of foreign policy and domestic policy, right? Because this country started to fall apart and there was a lot of cultural turmoil as a result. And so we said if we could give one of those to Russia, it would sure help hasten the collapse of the USSR.
Keep in mind when terrorists work for...
Okay, sorry. I'm going to reword these one more time. So now they're Ian cucks. So anytime Ian cucks Tim, and Seamus cucks. So anytime Seamus cucks Tim. So boom, yeah. Or agrees with Kim. Or steals. Or like brings attention. Steals Tim's thunder. Yeah, I guess that's sufficient. Steals Tim's... Oh, God. I need a better system. If anyone knows of a better system for, like, one-handed typing, hit me the fuck up. Tim's thunder. Okay.
Your country, they're called freedom fighters. That's when you
Yeah.
hear those
Well,
words.
and we saw what happens to the Mujahideen. Al
what did
Qaeda
they
evolves
yep,
from them, and we
right.
go over there and fight them.
One of you guys
So-
was saying
Oops.
that the Azov had been like killing Russians for tens of thousands of Russians over the last 5 or 8 years or something, wasn't it?
Like 14,000. Well, 14,000 people have been killed in the Donbass in the civil war between the separatists in the Donbass region and the government. Because there's an area of Ukraine that has been controlled by these separatists since 2014. And during the civil war conflict, which we call in the West, we say that they are Russian-backed Russian-backed separatists. Really, they're Ukrainians fighting Ukrainians in a civil war, and there's been 14,000 fatalities there. But a lot of them have been this battalion and these sort of very, Nazi. I mean, really, there's no way to say it other than, these are not like far right. These are actual Nazis. And they have been doing a lot of this battle. But, Hillary Clinton even came out like a week and a half ago.
Sweetie.
I think she was giggling about... Well, you saw how it worked out in Afghanistan for the Soviets when, you saw how well that
Going on too
happened
long.
because they ultimately had to
Cam,
back out
gotta
of...
keep it
Yeah.
simple.
And then what happened
That was-
afterward?
That was in the
created that.
80s in the mountains. Now we're talking about flatland in 2020.
But
so
it's
a lot
still a
different.
similar thing. We're arming a group. We're giving them a bunch of weapons. This group ideologically is very, they're not aligned with really democratic values, Western values, fundamentally. But we're still saying, but you're our friends now because you're fighting our enemy. And that's exactly what happened in the Mujahideen in Afghanistan. And that did not turn out well. Ultimately, we ended up in a war in Afghanistan that we could not win. And we've been in the Middle East this entire time. And so to your point then they're recruiting all of these fighters that are coming in from every other European country. And they're very far right radical people that are going to fight alongside these battalions. And we're arming them, helping them out. And who knows what that will reel into 20 years from now. I mean, how long did it take for the Mujahideen to turn into Al Qaeda and then, and Taliban?
It could very well happen that Ukraine is split. The east goes to the Russia, the west goes to Azov, and we've got a Nazi country, basically.
That's I think, exactly what's going to happen. I don't know if it'll go to them specifically.
No, yeah. I think the West will go to NATO, EU.
Right. But they'll have the battalion in there. I mean, they'll be part of...
Well, I don't know. I think when you look at ISIS, I'll just say this, my opinion. The West clearly wanted ISIS to function because it was destabilizing Syria. The U.S. wanted the Assad regime to fall so that the U.S. could get their pipeline up to displace the Russian gas monopoly. So ISIS is there, and it's like, oh no, we can't stop ISIS. Oh geez, and then Trump comes in, and he's like, flatten them, wipes ISIS out. That's actually a problem for the West. For NATO, the U.S. and the CIA, because then what's going to cause Syria to fall?
Yeah, Azov. They need another boogeyman.
So if the U.S. right now, the U.S. has Azov. If Russia takes Ukraine, then all of a sudden you might see this rampant, destructive Nazi battalion.
Oh, also, I realize this is actually probably a useful thing to have up. Yeah. Just to like highlight what I'm talking about.
And the U.S. will be like, oh, it's so bad. And somehow they'll end up with U.S. trucks and vehicles and weapons.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, what? Oh, we have to fight that rebel group?
All right. So Kim agreed with Tim. That's a Timchad.
That we funded a while ago. That's so crazy. That's
We
never
have to
happened
fight the
before.
Nazis.
Oh my
I
God.
think
You ever see the video of the ISIS guys in the truck, and it's got like Jim's Plumbing from Detroit,
Yeah.
Michigan on the side of it or something?
I think
People
my
are like, how'd
favorite.
that truck get
There
there?
were pictures from Syria that came out that had a kid wearing one of my high school's gym shirts on it because someone had donated
Oh, jeez.
their gym shirts
Nobody gives
and
a
other
fuck, dude.
clothing to some other
Fuck you.
organization, and it ended up in their hands. So there was like
Let's talk
it's
about
very surreal.
Let's talk about how where the censorship is going. We got the story on DuckDuckGo. This is Gabriel Weinberg, who is the CEO and founder of DuckDuckGo. He tweeted,
Okay,
like,
look, it's kind of cringe to just like talk about other people's tweets. Like this is a date. Like you're just getting out your phone and being like, "Look at this tweet. Like, isn't this stupid? Isn't this person a retard?" Definitely not a cool thing to say to girls, Tim. Get real.
so many others, I am sickened by Russia's invasion, so I've decided to completely and totally destroy my company. No one should ever use it again. It's a garbage. I'm just kidding. He didn't say that. What he actually
But he
said.
Might as
kind
well
of did.
have.
He kind of
Exactly. He said, like so many others, I am sickened by Russia's invasion
she
of
did
Ukraine and
laugh.
the gigantic humanitarian
Okay, so this is a tricky one. This is a tough call. So Kim did laugh. However, I think that was like an awkward laugh. Like that was like a forced laugh. However, it is a good sign. If she really wasn't into him, then she wouldn't be laughing at all. She wouldn't even give him the polite laugh. But because like she is into him, even when when Tim makes a cringe joke, she's still doing like a light giggle. Good flirtation tactic. So I guess this actually a Kim cute. Huh, interesting. So that one was a Tim cringe, Kim cute. I feel like that's going to be a pretty rare combo going forward.
crisis. It continues to create. At DuckDuckGo, we've been rolling out search updates to downrank sites associated with Russian disinformation.
This all makes sense now.
In addition to downranking sites associated with disinformation, we also often place news modules and information boxes at the top of
Wait a sec.
DuckDuckGo. Search
Wait a
results.
sec. Okay, sorry, I'm just having too much fun. I want you...
Associated with Russian disinformation.
This all makes sense now.
Watch
In
this.
addition to
Okay, you
downranking
see
sites
that?
associated
You
with
see that?
disinformation, we also often
Do you see that? So let's rewind the tape. Let's see if I can pause it right on. Oh, and he's doing a fucking shirt flick. I didn't even catch that. Huh, glad we rewound the tape. So he's making a point, and that's why he's doing the shirt flick. He thinks what he's saying is pretty cool, and it's really not, but like he doesn't know. He's poor little Timothy Pool.
what he actually
But he
Might
said.
as
kind of
well
did.
have.
He kind of
Exactly.
did.
He said, like so many others, I am sickened by Russia's invasion of Ukraine and
Nice.
the gigantic humanitarian crisis it continues to create. At DuckDuckGo, we've been rolling out search updates to downrank sites associated with Russian disinformation.
This all makes sense now.
In
He's
addition
like,
to
shut up, bitch. I'm not done, bitch. Oh, fuck. Calm down. So I'm just gonna count that as one Timchad. And also, I'm gonna count that as a lol for me, dog, because that was hilarious. What a cool bro.
downranking sites associated with this information, we also
Let's look
often
that up.
place news modules and information boxes at the top of DuckDuckGo search results. DuckDuckGo's mission is to make simple privacy protection. Yeah, no, that's not your value proposition, dudes. So I have a question for you, Gabriel.
Privacy protection. Okay, so sometimes he'll do like the little shirt flick thing when he does say something cool. Sometimes I think it's also like a nervous tick sometimes. He just really likes flicking his shirt like that. See, notice right here. Let's
Who determines?
Oh wait, see that didn't count. That was actually adjusting the microphone. I believe.
mission is to make simple privacy protections. Yeah, no, that's not your value proposition, dudes. So I have a question for you, Gabriel. Who determines
that was
what's
a
Russian
different microphone.
disinformation? Who determines what's true? And do you have who at DuckDuckGo is the arbiter of truth and morality? So I can better understand what sites you've decided to downrank. DuckDuckGo is completely worthless at this point. I don't see why anybody would use them.
And they are, because these last, now this is making sense to me, because as I've been trying to do some research about the conflict that's going on and trying to get truth, because we know it's a big propaganda problem, I've been going from Google to DuckDuckGo and getting the exact same search results and being very frustrated by it because I rely on DuckDuckGo to give me, search results that are different from different sites than the ones that Google just gives me.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, for a very long time, DuckDuckGo was far superior to Google.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do work with the Foundation for Economic Education to create these educational cartoons. We'll usually have people at their organization who will do some research for us if I don't have the time to dive into all of it. And there was a topic that we needed to dive into, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but the fellow who was doing research kept saying, I can't really find anything about this on Google. And he'd been searching for hours, and I said, oh, just try DuckDuckGo. And within 15 minutes, he had like 10 links with a lot of really great information in them. And it's just sad that resource isn't really a reliable one anymore.
Take a look at this tweet right here. DuckDuckGo tweeted on April 6, 2019, quote, when you search, you expect unbiased results, but that's not what you get on Google.
Stop
And
talking
that
about
is a
fucking
quote
tweets, dude.
from that same guy, Gabriel Weinberg.
What is
who
wrong
now,
with this guy?
He's now like, privacy is the...
Oh, what did Kim just say? I wonder who she's referring to.
That same guy, Gabriel Weinberg.
What is
who
wrong
now,
with this guy?
He's now like...
What is wrong with this guy? I don't know. What is wrong with this guy? And she's referring, obviously, to Tim, not the fucking head of DuckDuckGo.
Like, privacy is the reason people use DuckDuckGo.
No.
Man, I know he's just gonna fucking do way too many, voices. Probably partially because Seamus is here, and he likes doing fucking voices now, and, comedic little bits.
No, people use DuckDuckGo because
Okay, so that was another, shirt flick.
no, Google is censoring information.
Yeah.
All right, well, there's the Brave search. People are highlighting Brave is available. So everybody switch on over, and we'll keep playing this game of cat and
Good
mouse.
browser.
of
Maybe we
people
should
who
let
want
this
truth.
guy know that he just killed his business. Tweet at him.
I think he's gonna figure it out.
Wait,
Yeah.
what?
You know what? I should log in.
Wait, is Kim into tweeting? Is Kim into fucking talking about tweets? I think she's just going along with it because, she is 41. Them eggs are going bad, son. So she's got to get on it.
On Twitter so that I could actively do that during the show. Be like,
That'd be fun,
Gabriel, you
yeah.
have. But I did already basically tweet that. I said at DuckDuckGo. I said DuckDuckGo destroys their only
Actually, they're
value
vibing.
proposition
I
with
guess
a
they
single
are
tweet.
vibing.
Yeah, completely.
I'm switching over to the Brave search engine right now.
Yeah.
It's
That's
in
Is that
beta.
what it is?
I mean,
Brave?
So you have your
Yeah.
Brave browser, and then you got to go set up the Brave search engine within the browser. They're different.
Okay. Well, that's what I'm going to have to do now.
Yeah,
Do it.
it took me so long to get used to typing DuckDuckGo in instead of Google because it was such a habit for me that I'd formed over many years of exclusively using Google before I knew that they were terrible.
And DuckDuckGo is a terrible website name to be completely
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
DuckDuckGo
really.
is
Yeah.
not good branding.
We should have, if this guy CEO wants to come on and defend himself, maybe the CIA gave him a gag order and was like, you're going to be censoring information now, and you're not allowed to talk about why.
You think he would tell you that?
Yeah,
Not on
he,
air.
he might tell Ian.
I mean, he's in.
A lot of
he's
people
in
tell me a lot of
Pennsylvania. So there was this email service.
Kim just
see if you
laughed
guys
at
can-
Ian's joke.
can look
That's
this up
why
while I'm
he
talking
got
about
Ian
it,
cuck.
where they got what's called the National Security Letter. They had encrypted email. Was it something Forge or something? I can't remember. They said that I think it was like the NSA contacted them and said it's a national security letter. You're not allowed to tell anybody about this. Turn over all this information. And he was like, nope.
You don't want
And
to
then
be
they were
better?
like, if you don't do this, you're getting in trouble. And then he went public and was like, I got this letter. They're demanding I turn over information on my clients. And then, basically, I think they basically shut down his entire company. So this guy's probably chilling. And he's sitting there thinking, like, we're doing a great job of fighting
See ya.
censorship. And there's a knock on the door, and there's a guy in an NSA, badge, and he's like, you are from now on going to be censoring information we don't like. And he goes, you got it, boss. And then he goes to his Twitter account. And he's like, we don't like free information. We want censorship. There you go. That
Problem
easy.
with centralized power, you do not want, as a tech leader, you do not want centralized control of your organization, man, because you are the target. You got to decentralize that. No one person should be able to change a search engine like that, in my opinion. It's way too dangerous. People can
That's
get co-opted.
Yep. Let me see. I think I found this story.
Cool thing to say, Ian.
Dude. Is this it?
From 2013.
2013 story: how the government killed a secure email company. Well, I don't know if this is the same company, but they say in mid-July, Tanya Lokshina, deputy director for Human Rights Watch Moscow office, wrote on her Facebook wall that she had received. Yes, it was LOVEref. There you go. An email from Edward Snowden at LOVEref. It requested that she attend a press conference at Moscow's Sheremetyevo International Airport. I'm probably saying it wrong.
Cringe. You should have just like not even tried to say it, bro. Like, so Kim Iversen, one of her main things is like being super good at enunciation. And if you can't like enunciate better than her, you might as well just start pulling out the flashlight because she's not sucking your dick.
To discuss the NSA leaker situation. Yesterday, LavaBit went dark. In a cryptic statement posted on its website, the service's owners and operator, Ladar Levison, wrote, "I cannot share my experiences over the last 6 weeks, even though I have twice made the appropriate requests. Those experiences led him to shut down the service rather than, as he put it, become complicit in crimes against the American people." LavaBit users reacted with consumer vitriol on the company's Facebook page. What about our emails? But the tide quickly turned toward government critique. By the end of the night, a similar service, Silent Circle, also shut down its encrypted email product, calling the LavaBit affair the writing on the wall. So, clarification. He refused to give in to the government and shut it down rather than turn over people's information.
Good for him.
Yeah.
That's great.
And
So
maybe
now
that's
he's
what
dead.
happened with DuckDuckGo. Maybe they knock on your door one day and they're like, well, we can destroy you and everything you love and own, or you can bend the knee and do as you're told.
Welcome to the empire.
Yeah.
It's been
dude.
so good to you your whole life. Now bow.
Well, then what? You would never. I mean, either way, his business is dead. So you might as well have your dignity.
Seriously.
I'd love to be the CEO of DuckDuckGo. I'm not saying this actually happened. We
Also,
don't
that
know
was
for
like a
sure.
cool
But I-
/ cute thing for Kim to say. Might as well have your dignity.
I'll tell you this, if I was the CEO of this company and then I get a knock on the door and they're like, we want you to censor information from Russian sources, I'd be like, no. And they would be like, you have to. And I'd be like, how about I just shut it down? And then what are they going to do about it? And then I go public and be like, hey guys, the government's requesting we censor information, so I'm shutting it down. That being said,
Chad, that's
that
the
being
super
said,
Chad thing to
Elon
say.
Musk
Yep.
was
Good job.
he publicly stated he will never censor information over Starlink. So,
Except
I mean,
at gunpoint. He said
Yeah,
he would
at
do it at
gunpoint.
gunpoint.
but dude's got, some people say there's a thing called FU money.
Yeah.
Elon Musk has something like F everyone money.
Wait,
Yes.
did he literally say I would at gunpoint?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's just inviting gunpoint.
Right, exactly.
I'm trying to use this Brave search. It's in beta. It's not great yet. That's the downside. Like, I'm
Well,
gonna
maybe
go.
they will be.
I'm gonna go home. I was said later. I'm gonna go home later after the show and get on my computer, my desktop, and I've got DuckDuckGo and Google search. If I really need a good search engine that can crawl the web, I need something that's tried and true.
DuckDuckGo is my current default.
Me too.
So now I have to switch it because I'm
Shit,
not going to support.
Man, Samus is just one thirsty boy. Not Samus, Seamus. Whatever, his name is Samus. Seamus is a stupid name.
This.
Yeah, like maybe I'll use it when I'm not searching for news, but then go to Brave when I'm searching for data about Russia.
I don't
I
know how
guess
this
maybe
show
that's-
exists.
Yeah.
Because you're so
Delete it,
charming, dude.
yeah.
And you actually do your
Wait, so what did Ian just say? Instant replay.
for news, but then go to Brave when I'm searching for data about
Good
Russia.
vibes.
I don't
I
know how
guess
this
maybe
show
that's-
exists.
Yeah.
Because you're so
Delete it, yeah.
charming, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And you actually
And he was like, no. Oh. Oh.
do your research.
Yeah, I guess, but like, I don't know, man. The government, the institutions, the establishment, Democrats and neocons are trying so hard to drum up a war between NATO and Russia. We've got 13,000 NATO soldiers in Estonia right now, I think Estonia, and they're firing Stinger missiles, and Kamala Harris is in Poland, and she's saying, Putin, don't you dare, we're coming. It's like, that's the opposite of de-escalation. I genuinely think the NATO would love to get an excuse to just flatten Russia. And they're doing everything in their power, it seems. And we're just sitting here all talking like every night being like, that's bad, that's wrong, you shouldn't do it. And they're lying to the American people. I just don't understand why we haven't gotten our... Well, we got swatted 6 times this year.
Yeah.
So maybe that's happening.
I don't think for one, we've never tested NATO. right? So it's never really truly been tested. So Article 5 has been called on one time after 9/11, right? And the NATO forces, what did they do after 9/11? They said, okay, yeah, I guess this qualifies. And they sent some jets over to patrol the U.S. skies, because that's the only job is they have to defend you on your soil. They don't have to go to enemy soil. That's why they didn't go into Afghanistan or Iraq. They did have some countries were able to opt in, but there wasn't an Article 5, actually invoked in order to force troops to go in anywhere. So it's never really been tested. We don't actually know. I mean, we sit here and we posture and we act like, oh, yeah, we would totally flatten Russia. But we don't actually know how we would do head-to-head against Russia. And we also don't know who would join in with Russia. Right?
And Russia, their military is, I think their capabilities are around 50-60% of NATO, which sounds...
We don't know
So
that.
it looks like, notice this. When her eyes are pointing in this way, she is looking at Tim, and...
Right. But I will...
And when his eyes are pointing this way, he's looking at Kim. Okay? So just keep that in mind. Oops. No, I didn't mean to do that. Fuck.
say this. Russia's military is unified under one command structure. NATO is a bunch of different countries, different languages, different cultures. That could be a huge issue.
But NATO's really only the United States, France, the UK, and Turkey.
Yeah.
Everybody else just gives us some bodies.
Okay, so Tim agreed with Kim. That's not really Kim cute. See, now I would say this is a good vibe. They're like on the same page.
Of people that maybe are not well trained, right? So you have to have those four countries getting together, and the French are always, lately they've been pretty hesitant to get involved at all. They've got their own problems, so they especially don't like to go with us to the Middle East. And Turkey, same thing. Turkey feels a little bit hesitant about that. So, and Turkey is not really embraced very well. You know, look at how Ukraine is being embraced and putting in applications to be joining the EU, and they get the backing of some EU members. And Turkey's been applying year after year after year, let us into the EU, and they get snubbed. So Turkey is 1 foot out the door.
Right.
For Russia and Turkey not to be like lockstep, I can't imagine that Black Sea. You can't get through Constantinople. You can't get through Istanbul without Turkey.
Well, I think that's why Turkey knows that they've been embraced by NATO was just to sort of take some power away from Russia, hopefully. But Turkey's not 100% there with us. I mean, they really are straddling the line between the two. And I think that at any minute, Turkey could actually say, you know what, we just want to forget this whole NATO thing. We're not really involved in it.
Historically, I mean, people switch sides in the middle of conflict. It's not out of the ballpark. Just because someone on paper says they're your ally doesn't mean that, like, when realism hits the fan, people do what they need to do to survive.
Right. That's why NATO hasn't really truly been tested, and I think they're afraid to actually do it, because I don't think they know what Turkey will actually do if they'll really truly send bodies in to go and confront Russians and to potentially, to allow thousands of your own to die for what? So
I just want to say,
tested it.
Speak of the devil. What is the full phrase?
And he shall appear.
And he shall appear. It looks like our chat shut down.
Oh.
What?
I noticed because we have the live chat going, and I can see everything. I got a little
You
command.
jinxed it.
And normally it's just flying like crazy. Just chats are coming in like crazy. And so I noticed it stopped moving.
What?
And I was like, what's this?
Yeah, it's
and,
not moving.
There's no chat. So I'm like, maybe the browser's screwed up. So I tried resetting the chat. Didn't work. I pulled up my phone and went in.
Yep.
There's no chat. I just posted the message, smashed the like button, and I don't see it even on my own phone on the same account. So
Could be.
Oh, there we go.
No, yeah,
it's back.
There we
Is
go.
it back?
We're
Oh,
back.
as soon as you mentioned
That's
it.
what I noticed.
Right.
As I was building.
Notice right here. It was a cool thing to say. He's flicking his shirt. Timchad.
Minds over the decade, I noticed almost all the time when people think that you're doing something insidious, technically it's usually like a glitch.
Yeah. That's
no,
what I
dude,
noticed.
no way.
From
no way.
my perspective as an admin, it is a glitch. Usually it's a glitch.
Now
it's
it's
like
now it's
Tim Pool, professional conspiracy theorist.
Yeah.
now it's exploding.
they're like, he's onto us. Some admin's like,
people are saying chat was dead. It's back. It's broken. It's back.
it
What
could be a
happened?
glitch. You know, the other night my internet went down, and other people were like, my internet went down too. Like 2 nights ago. Did you guys have
Yeah,
internet?
many such cases.
Did you guys have? Was there all
Yeah.
sorts of tech outages a couple nights ago? Like, is this like a global attack? Was that-
Probably.
No,
I
maybe.
mean, well,
I
look,
wouldn't have been
Oh, that wouldn't
surprised.
be. Yeah, that
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lo, I'll tell you this, man. I think we're already in World War III. The problem is people don't like that phrase because it invokes imagery of bombings and blitzkriegs and all that stuff. But people need to understand that NATO is absolutely supplying weapons and personnel to the Ukrainians for a ground war with Russia. China has already threatened the U.S. that if we take any economic sanctions or actions against them, they'll retaliate against us. So already China has announced that they're going to be supporting Russia with the sanctions with union pay. The U.S. is already, I'll put it this way. What is war? Can you define war for me, like legitimately?
Nice. Yeah, direct a question at her. Another Chad thing to do. Yeah, he's read the Red Pill playbook.
Like off the top of your head, Kim?
Two countries battling.
Also, another trick. Notice what he did here.
Like off the top of your head, Kim?
So one thing you're supposed to do is you say the name of the person you're trying to get to fuck you. Just, like make them feel special, like make them feel identified. And clearly, Tim knows how to play the game.
Two countries battling.
Maybe that, because I'm not trying to put you on the
Or
spot.
many countries
I'm
battling.
Like, how would you define it, right? We typically, there's hot war, there's cold war, there's economic warfare.
And you could battle many ways.
War.
You don't have to battle with guns. You could battle with, like, it could be cyber war. Or, any kind of really...
So she's just like copying what he said. Another good thing. See, now Tim is doing the cute thing to do, which is you just agree with whatever the guy says no matter what. Look, I wish that's not how it worked. That's a little like misogynistic, but that is what men are attracted to. Women who just blindly follow us. Okay. Because clearly she was not going to say cyber war initially. And then Tim said, like hot war, cold war, cyber war. Obviously, she can't say hot war or cold war. Those are already things. Cyber war was the answer Tim was fishing for. And she just spread those legs and gave him that fish.
And
economic warfare.
We've seen cyber attacks across the board. We've seen weird outages happening. We've seen industrial plants exploding and things like that. And if we're in an information warfare or an info war, as some Texas gentlemen...
Now you're really looking for your chat to get shut down.
And yes, of course, we keep it consistent. Notice
a war. As some Texas gentlemen...
Now you're really looking for your chat to get shut down.
There
you go.
Yeah.
No, but if I think it's fair to say, we see all
chat?
these stories where it's like anonymous takes down Russian infrastructure, and I'm like, dude, it's probably the U.S. government or its contractors. Mm-hmm. It is Western interests going after Russia. Here's what blows my mind. The U.S. is like, we want to give weapons to the Ukrainians, right? We want planes or whatever. Poland says we want to give these planes. If we're providing weaponry to Ukrainians,
I guess I'll count that one.
then Latvia says we vote to allow our citizens to go to Ukraine and fight for the Ukrainians. I'm like, how is this not a declaration of war? Providing resources to one country who's fighting another.
Oh yeah, and like Visa, MasterCard, and American Express shut down access in Russia, but it wasn't the American government that did it, so we're off the hook. But it's like, oh, how much power do these corporations have?
So think about what is the purpose of war? Because I agree with you, Tim. I actually think we're in World War III, but I think we've been...
I agree with you, Tim. Another cute thing to say. And also, yeah, we're already in World War III. Like, that is, like, something she was saying earlier in, like, one of her shows, like, the other day. So, good job. Let's give her a little pat on the head. Pat. Let's see if I can... Yeah. Pat. Yeah. Good girl. That was supposed to be a hand? No, I'm not an artist.
And I don't remember which show I actually said that exact thing on recently, but...
I actually said that exact thing recently. Yeah, hearts are in the air. Woo! Hearts are in her eyes. I need to get some better graphics. Okay.
But I think it's not because of the weapons that we're giving and there's battles going on in Ukraine. What is the purpose of war? So when you're going to war with another country, why are you doing it? You're doing it because you're trying to, you don't want them to, so we try to go to war with the Soviets to stop the spread of the Soviet Union, right? So we don't want them to have dominance or power in certain parts of the world.
We want
dominance.
Influence
Wait. Oh shit, that's a good one. Man, she is one sexy minx. So I want you to pay attention to her eyes. Remember, we know that if she's looking this direction, she's looking at Tim. Okay? Rewind the tape. Play, roll tape.
Of the Soviet Union, right? So we don't want them to have dominance or power.
Ooh, yeah, that's a spicy one. So let's just put fucking Tim's direction. Tim. I just want to fucking drive this point home. Let's see if I can slow it down. Playback speed. Let's do it half speed.
Of the Soviet Union, right? So we don't want them to have dominance or power.
So she's looking this way sometimes when she says, so when she said dominance.
Of the Soviet Union, right? So we don't want them to have dominance or power.
Uh-oh. So she's getting Ian's fucking cucking him. So I'm not sure who's over here, but it's not Tim. And it's probably not Samus because he's kind of a little beta. But Ian is like a true Chad. He doesn't give a fuck. Like he's like a contrarian to like his boss, which is Tim. That's Chad, just telling your boss that he's wrong about everything and just being like calm and collected the whole time. But yeah, so she looks at Tim when she says power, but at either Ian or Samus when she says dominance. So that's not a good sign. So, I'm really glad I played this in slow motion to get that extra insight.
In certain parts of the world.
We want influence over different regions and people to our own benefit.
Right. So did you know February 4th, did you hear about this document that Russia and China put out together, a statement? So they issued a statement February 4th together that is a couple of pages long. And if you read that statement that happened before Russia even invaded Ukraine, they pretty much declare, I mean, it's the most ominous statement because they essentially come out declaring we're no longer going to have a unipolar world. It is now multipolar. And these
remember that, yeah.
Yeah, this is how this is, this basically pointing the finger at the West, almost blatantly that I don't know if they actually name the United States in the document, but they strongly allude, saying we're the reason why there isn't world peace, that it's our fault, and that the things have changed. This is it. This is the document.
The China Aerospace Studies Institute, in their own words, joint statement to the Russian Federation and the People's Republic of China on the international relations entering a new era of the global sustainable development. Well, there you go. It's decently long. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but
no, but there's parts of it that really they really call out.
So I'm not sure if Tim mentioned this too much. And this is a cool thing for Kim to say because, like, she's demonstrating value to Tim. So you got to demonstrate value, and then you got to engage physically. So, see, we're not going to be able to tell if they're engaging physically. They're at other seats on the table. You'd have to watch the after show to see how much, like, Kino escalation there is. And Kino escalation is where you, like, slowly build up touching people of the opposite sex. Like, brush their shoulder, like, give them a high five. Not shake, you can't shake their hand, but it has to be like any other form of touch. Put your arm around them, and you slowly escalate it until to gauge how comfortable they are with you touching them. And eventually you like grab them, put hand around their waist, and pull them close. And then that is when you trigger the kiss minigame.
The American hegemony. And when you look at this and you think, okay, the purpose of war is to stop the influence or to weaken your enemy to some degree. So war doesn't have to be with guns. And I think there's been a concerted effort when you look at this and then you look at the steps that Russia has taken and then you see the steps that China has taken in response to it. And you realize that we might have been at war. China might have been at war with us, China and Russia, for a long time. Right? Because really it's just about you have an enemy, you don't like the enemy, you want to harm the enemy in some way. It doesn't have to, and they know they couldn't beat us militarily, nor did they even want to. So they I think, went after us economically, potentially.
Yeah, you want conquest or genocide, I think, are the two main goals of war. And it's usually to empower yourself through the destruction of the other. And that doesn't have to be done with guns. That can be done psychologically,
it's
like you see children.
Oh, shit. So right now, Ian just cut off Tim. So Ian cucks Tim. Wait, did that fucking go through? There we go.
Questioning their gender, that's basically it's not genocide, but if people stop having babies, that's the end of the human race.
It's control of a population. So if you could take over a country without firing a shot, would you do it? Of course. Nobody wants to waste resources.
No way. I don't
So if you've got a country that's got a bunch of nuclear reactors, do you want to blow them up or do you want to use them? You want to use them. Anybody who's played the game Civilization knows this. If you can take
Don't fucking... Ooh, you don't want to bring up fucking strategy games. Women hate playing strategy games, dude. Like, you really don't know that? Women hate a whole video... Timmy.
over a city with minimal, bombings, you get more from that city. You blow them up, the population shrinks, and you get a crappier
She's a
city.
40-year-old woman, dude. She doesn't want to hear about your fucking video games.
Just basic math.
So they've been planning this for a long time because they were trading in dollars.
She just immediately is like, what the... she just is off top. She's like, let's change the subject fast. That's what you're supposed to do, though, if you're a girl, ladies.
In 2014, I think the percentage of dollars being traded between China and Russia was like 97%. And now it's down to 30-something% that they use. So they've been doing that. They've been making these moves for a long time. They have been building up their own economies, strengthening their own ties with one another. They used to be enemies. Now they're like best buddies. And they've been making all of these really, really strategic moves, making friends around the world rather than enemies. And now suddenly it's just really strange to me that Russia decides to invade Ukraine.
So actually that's another bad sign. She's not wearing anything sexy at all. Like, she's not wearing a lot of makeup. That is like a lot of makeup for a normal girl. She's not wearing like professional makeup. And then like she's wearing like a plain black shirt with just like zero fucking cleavage, zero fucking skin showing. But she seems to be getting along with him pretty fine. Oh, also I should probably rate Kim. So female hotness ratings. I guess this is pretty important. Female hotness ratings. Okay, so you got Kim. And I would give her, honestly, I don't care that she's 41. I think she's hot as fuck. And then Lydia, I don't care that she's white. I think she's ugly as fuck. I'm talking like a 2. I don't know what it is about Lydia. I just don't think she's hot. Sorry, Lids. You're good at hitting buttons.
The 21st of February. So they issued this statement on the 4th. Russia does a giant deal for a natural gas pipeline from Russia to China, giant pipeline. And then suddenly he goes in and invades Ukraine, and I know a lot of course, they've been saying it's about NATO expansion, but why now? Were they going to do a vote next week to put Ukraine into NATO? Like, what's so different this week from last week?
Do you see the video of the Russian politician in December saying February 22nd, 2022? I wish this year would have been peaceful, but it's not going to be. Mark my words. In December, he said that. And that video is not getting a lot of play, but a lot of, a Ukrainian friend sent that to me. They were like, watch this video. And then I was just like, whoa. So they knew. And truth be told, I didn't believe the U.S. when they were putting out these statements. They were like, Russia's going to do it.
Oh,
wait.
I didn't either.
Wait. Let's fucking rewind the tape. I think I saw a shirt fleck.
And then I was just like, whoa. So they knew. And truth be told, I didn't believe the U.S. when they were putting out these statements. They were like, Russia's going to do it. And I was like, no, they're not. Well, look, it's the Democrat who cried.
Oh, so Kim's saying I didn't know that. When a girl is like helpless and dumb, that is cute. Look, again, like I didn't make up like human mating dynamics, but that is a cute thing to do. That's why she's saying it. And that's actually a Timchad as well, because like look at his smug and like slightly happy look.
Russia.
Right.
You know, Joe Biden or Jen Psaki or these Democrats are like, you know, Nancy Pelosi comes out and she's like, the Russians are going to invade. And I'm like, shut your mouth, you liar. I will not believe a word that comes out of these people's mouths, and to our own detriment. What do you do?
Well, they were right this one time.
Well, it's like, I mean, it's like I said on yesterday's show. The moral of
So that was just a good vibe. That was a good little back and forth. And then she made a joke and made Tim laugh. And that's also, like, men also, like, express, like, sexual, romantic interest by laughing. Girls do it more because, like, men just are trained to be the ones making jokes. But, like, whenever, like, girls can do it, and it does count as, like, building up relationship points.
the story in The Boy Who Cried Wolf was not, oh, those shameful, stupid villagers for not believing the one time he turned out to be right. The moral of the story is it's his fault because he lied consistently and lost all credibility.
We should make that kid's book, The
Yeah.
Democrat Who Cried Russian. But the
Absolutely.
moral of the story is you should always believe the Democrats no matter what.
When they're completely wrong, yeah.
So it's the basic story, The Boy Who Cried Wolf, and in the end it's just like, if only they had just continued to believe the little boy who lied all the time, they would have been better off. Shows you to always obey the authority.
That's true.
The authority is never wrong.
Correct.
Okay, that was a
Yeah,
bit
so what
cringe.
else is going on, though? I mean, we've been seeing China and Russia dumping U.S. dollars for a long time now. And
Yeah.
I remember conversations back in like the late 2000s where they were like, China and Russia are getting prepared for a non-petrodollar, non-U.S. reserve currency world.
Yeah, it's going to like the, how do you say it, the yuan, so the petro yuan is what they're moving towards, it sounds
Is
like.
that what I should be buying right now?
Maybe.
No, well,
Maybe.
And isn't it so sad that the elites in our country are so unbelievably irresponsible and corrupt that we don't even want to hold on to our own currency because we all basically believe it's going to collapse, and we're actively watching it lose
8%.
a large portion of its value. Yeah.
Yeah,
Only 8%.
I-
That's what we're being told.
I think it was March 2020 when they first did that print. Was it 1.2 trillion? Maybe it was April 2020. That was when I gave up on the U.S. dollar. I was like, wow. Okay, I've known the Federal Reserve's busted the economy and that fiat's nuts and that the American military-industrial complex is overreach, but it never really struck me until March 2020. Like, wow,
Well-
they're just going to keep printing money.
It was, from
What-
what I
what-
understand, it was they were giving $450 billion to the Federal Reserve to leverage out in $4.5 trillion in loans, just completely flooding the market.
The Zuby tweeted this, that the money supply was $4 trillion in early 2020, and now it's 20 trillion or something like that, or 23 trillion.
A lot of it's
something
because the savings accounts got
Getting kind of bored.
added to the money supply.
Absolutely.
So
Which
that's
is
like
crazy.
half, at least half, I would think, of that number.
No, it's more than half that number.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
But they did it to mask the amount of printing because if you look at the number, the money supply is going along, then all of a sudden they
Yeah,
add the.
so like men seem to like talking about the Federal Reserve a lot more than women do for some reason. Let's see if Kim has anything to say here. I don't think she will.
the savings in, and then the money supply is increasing at a new rate. Before when they added, it's like right when they added the supply, you see it.
China and Russia saw what happened in 2008, and they were like, you better start preparing because this is the end. When you look at the money supply, the real surge in money printing happened right after 2008, after the market crashed. And then with the
Yes.
pandemic, it skyrockets.
Yeah.
So I think Russia and China, India, Brazil, probably a bunch of countries, and I'm sure the U.S.
Even
knew
the
it
United
too.
States, yeah,
Yeah,
they
all
know.
knew.
Well, what happens is
Borrowed time.
they argue that we have to use quantitative easing in order to stimulate the economy, but then we get completely addicted because as soon as you try quantitative tightening, the stock market goes crazy, and we can't have that happen, so they just have to continually inflate the currency to prevent a crash.
Posobiec is a brilliant man, Jack Posobiec, and he constantly is like, you do not want the U.S. dollar to not be the world reserve currency.
Right.
I'm like, I know I don't,
Yeah.
but I also don't want to be living off fiat for my grandchildren to suffer under the slave boot of authoritarian autocracy, you know, and have their lives valued by some corporate credit. I don't know what to do. I don't want to destroy the system, but the system is an aberration and needs to be rectified.
I think the best we can hope for is the multipolar world where it's more of a east-west. And so we're not dominating the world with one currency, but instead there's one currency that's often...
So every time she says dominating, she's looking in this direction. So, if I had a bad vibes metric still, that would it wouldn't really be bad vibes, but not really a cringe. Well, I don't
traded
know.
in parts of the world and another that is traded in the other part of the world. And, as the world's population has increased, that's fine. I mean, when you look at the population 70 years ago compared to today, I think it's doubled on the globe. So even if the dollar is only dominant with half the world, it's still the same number of people as it was 70 years ago.
But have you considered that the average person, I should say all people actually, are stupid, and that we should control them with a small.
What the fuck are you saying, Tim? She's not gonna get it. The joke, like, come on, bro.
Small council of elites who have inherited their power and then reset the whole system and then take everything these people own away from them. And then once we do, they'll be happy.
Oh, yeah.
Klaus Schwab, is that you?
Klaus,
Okay, well, I thought it was cringe, but apparently Kim didn't. She knew what he was going for, and she agreed and amplified. Oh, that's another thing. Another pickup artist technique. I guess they're both familiar in the ways of PUA. Agree and amplify. When faced with an argument you want to change, well, okay, it's also, it can be in in a debate manner. It doesn't have to be. Yeah, so this isn't really a good thing either. Basically, whenever the other person says something, either an insult or just even like a statement, you just, you take what they say and then you amplify it. You're like, yeah, like I am a scumbag. Not only am I a scumbag, I am the king of scumbags. That's basically what they're saying here. And in this case, it was like he was making a reference to why don't we do what the World Economic Forum says? And then Kim Iversen's like, oh, are you actually Klaus Schwab himself? Very cute thing to say, Kim. Props to you.
We can be
channeling my
like some kind of economic forum for the world
Yeah.
Yeah, like a world
Yeah, I love it.
economic forum of some sort.
of some kind.
Well, when we were hanging out with Ryan and Danny the other day, we played that video of the guy filling.
Oh, and he pulled his shirt just now. My camera's about to die, so I'm just gonna turn that off. Yeah, I think that's the plan. Okay, let's see if I can do this live. Something tells me it's not gonna work. It should be able to work live. Save. Hey! And bye-bye you. And you come down. You come downtown. Then we gotta go to the other one and do the same thing. Boom. Bam. Bam. Okay. And I'm just going to... Sorry for this housekeeping stuff. I'm going to disconnect. And I might bring it back later. But yeah, if the battery's dead, there's literally no point, right? Okay, let me just plug this in. Charge up this little boy. Little boy. I don't know. Saying boy is fun. Almost done. Yeah, okay. And hopefully the cat, I guess I can just have do I have any pictures of this cat? I gotta have some pics of this cat. Yeah. Yeah. That'll do. That'll do, cat. That'll do. And actually, I want this up again. And actually, can I make it even smaller? Tiny. Perfect. Okay. Sorry for the PNG, but you know what they say in the Middle East. Deal with it, white. Deal with it, white devil. That is what I say. Prove me wrong. You can't.
up the back of his pickup
Oh
truck.
my
That's what I'm
God.
thinking
with
about.
gas. And I'm like, now you understand Bill Gates, but Klaus Schwab's probably better. Klaus is like sitting there and like he's sitting in his lounge chair with his belly hanging out. And he's like clicking YouTube videos, and then he watches a guy pouring gas in the back of a
He's like,
pickup truck,
yep,
and he's like,
good button.
I must do something about
That's
this.
what I'm wondering, Kim. When you think about like just the sheer stupidity of some humans to destroy themselves and everyone around them, like what do you like the plebeians and the Roman?
Okay, so now Ian is like, he's kind of stealing Tim's thunder by like directly addressing Kim and demanding to get her response to a question.
Times they were like, there's the elite central few that run society, and everyone else is a plebeian because they're too stupid to understand which end of the fork to hold. Like, how do you think that that's real? That there's like a small group of really hyper intelligent humans, and everyone else is like a dumb, like a follower, and that we need to live like that? We need to structure society around that.
Obviously, yes. No.
How do you see it? Because I'm having a hard time not seeing it like that.
I think Ian makes a good point, because I'm sure many in the audience think that about you. No, but I'm not trying this to be funny. Like,
sure,
there's a lot of
yeah.
people.
Chad thing to say. So Ian tried to steal his thunder, and then Tim just like negated it, and then he evoked a giggle out of Kim.
There's
Well,
all
like, I
you're
think
in
Ian's
this
wrong.
situation. You're the leader. I'm the follower. It's very
No, I mean,
specific.
What I mean is, there are a lot of people who are like, I think Ian has bad ideas. You know what I mean?
And so therefore we need to control you.
Yeah.
Right.
Right, yeah. Like the idea that there are people you cannot let run society because they'll fill the back of their truck up with gasoline.
Right.
I will say this: there is a brilliant Fulton Sheen quote. We cannot allow society to be led by people who never learn to obey it. In other words, we are run by people who never learned to follow the rules and always saw themselves as above the law. And so what happens when they take control? They're completely lawless, and that's tyranny.
But everybody feels that way about everybody. So that's the problem. Then who do you decide? You know,
Exactly.
when you look at it, just even in our government now, you've got Democrats thinking that, and then you have Republicans thinking that. So which one are you going to choose?
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think I do decide at this point.
Yeah,
I've become a jaded cynic.
I'm just all about, I'm going to go live in the woods. I'm going to get a bunch of chickens.
You already did that.
We're
No,
gonna,
but
I know.
I hear what
exactly.
you're saying.
I live by my, my word
Your
is
code.
My code.
I hear what you're saying.
Oh man, that was almost a cool thing to say, Tim. But yeah, Ian stole his thunder, and then look at his like depressed face. I guess this must be where Ian's situated. He's like, God damn it, stealing my thunder. He probably also feels uncool because he like stumbled over his words a bit. Always an uncool thing to do in front of anyone, regardless of whether or not you're trying to fuck them.
About the fact that there are a lot of different perspectives on this, but we also have to be very careful not to fall into the trap of relativism and still be willing to acknowledge that there is truthhood and falsehood, and the best we can do is try to...
Okay, no, there is not truehood and falsehood when it comes to morality. Some people think abortion's good, some people think like the Second Amendment's good. It's all relative. And also different like rules work for different groups of people.
pursue that which is good and noble and pure and true as best as we possibly can. Even
Honestly, instead of dividing society by races, they should divide society by personality types. Yeah, fuck ethno-states. We should have personality states. Yeah, Myers-Briggs states. Oh, man. Well, I'm writing that one down. MBTI states, not ethno-states. Definitely making a video about that.
if there's some potential for us to get it wrong, at least we will have tried.
I really don't like that wealth goes from parent to kid on death. That makes me so
Who should it go to instead?
just disperse into nothingness or something. I don't know.
Then why would people
So,
want to
like-
earn wealth for their children?
Well, you earn it for yourself, and then your children earn it for themselves.
What show am I on right now? Here I
Yeah,
am. I'm
that's
listening
the thing
to
to
a
say.
commie and somebody who's like pushing for vaccine mandates.
Right.
What? I'm pushing for vaccine mandates?
Oh,
Safety.
shit.
Exact-
Okay. So, Kim attacking. Oh, also, we should probably make that clear. So, remember, Tim is in this direction. Looks like Seamus is in this direction. And then this direction, I think, is Ian. Okay, so that's. Oh. Can I just. Let's try that again. Well, that's the best you're getting. Deal with it. Ian, Samus, and Tim. So It seems, or maybe he's more like this direction. Yeah. So, that was a Kim cute because she was looking at Samus and shutting him down because, he's being a little beta and like agreeing with everything Kim says. And she's like, playfully, ribbing him, in a way that like makes him like look bad. Like, obviously all these people here are against the vaccine mandates, and she's saying, oh, hey, Samus, you're arguing for the equivalent of vaccine mandates. So also, just remember, these are the directions of where the people are located. So whoever she's looking at is relevant when evaluating her flirtation move. So trash everything and hit play.
The opposite.
It's an
No,
extreme-
Because when you say my morality is for the good of the greater good,
Yes.
then that is basically what people that push for vaccine mandates say. They say,
Yeah,
well,
absolutely.
my morality is for the greater good. So
And good
But
is
do you
defined.
believe that some moral claims can be true and others can be false? The problem is not saying that there is good and truth in the world and that we should try to promote what is true. The issue is people trying to promote falsehood as if it's true.
I want to.
Oh, I want to go deep on this.
Well, I want to ask Ian a question because
So Ian says, I want to go deep on this, in like his deep Chad voice. And let's rewind the tape.
everybody's. I want to.
Oh, I want to go deep on this.
Well, I want to.
I want to go deep on this. So who do you think he's looking at when he says that? Because who laughed? Okay, so pay attention. And I think this is where Tim is. I'm not 100% positive on that one though. So let's rewind the tape.
Trying to promote falsehood as if it's true.
I want to.
So Tim's about to say something. Ian is about to cut him off.
Oh, I want to go deep on this.
Well, I want to ask.
Oh man. This was a really good idea. Okay. And he's like smoking, looking at him like, I'm gonna fuck your bitch, Tim. Oh, so juicy. So juicy, Smollett.
Ian a question because everybody's posting ones in chat right now after what he said.
Oh,
I have a question for you.
He has to, and of course, Tim has to like emphasize, oh, everyone hates what you just said. So, shut up, Ian. But
Yeah,
that's a beta thing to say. Like, he should have like agreed and amplified. Like, Tim should have been like, oh, I want to go so deep it comes out the other side. Or I don't know, that's a dumb thing to say, but it's like something in that ballpark, He shouldn't have been like, that was a dumb thing to say, dude, Ian, because clearly the girl's giggling like it's not necessarily, that doesn't necessarily mean anything, but it the way he said it sounded good to me. And hey, you can just rewind the tape yourself, judge for yourself. These are my metrics though, and my ratings.
So Ian said he doesn't like that money goes from parent to child. That's what you said?
And the reason I say that is because I see a lot of incapable kids earn a lot of money and have a lot of power in society.
But just I want to make sure I get your point. Okay. So imagine this scenario: you have a 40-year-old man. He's got 3 kids, and they're middle teenagers, and he's a billionaire, and they have a big house. They have a very, very large house, and they all live in it. And then one day, the guy is walking downstairs, and he sees his kids making breakfast, and he goes, "Hello there, whoa," and slips, and then falls on his neck, and snap, his neck cracks. Should the government come and burn the house down and kick the kids out and put them in an orphanage?
No.
So what do those kids do, right?
maybe
the
there's like
kids
a
get to keep the
percentage,
house?
an amount.
Okay, so the government comes in, takes the house, kicks the kids out, and gives them each $100,000?
So like a giant tax,
I don't know.
90% tax.
Why do those kids
this-
have
well,
$100,000 to begin with?
well,
I don't know.
because-
Well, what do you like? So this is the issue. This is why we. If somebody is working because they want to provide for their kids, the problem is wealth doesn't mean rich. Wealth is just the money and resources you have. So there could be a guy who's worth $100,000, his total net worth. This means he's got $12,000 in savings. He's got a mortgage on his house. and liabilities plus assets and equals about 100 grand. And he lives in the suburbs and his kids go to school. His kid's 16, 17 years old, and then he dies, and the mom dies or whatever. They both had a car accident. You got to transfer what the parents had to the kids. Otherwise, the kid's just homeless. So that's the way it works.
So it's also interesting because, Ian, there have been some analyses which have suggested that inheritance taxes make income inequality worse, because when you look at middle-class people, generally their best way of generating intergenerational wealth is through home ownership, property ownership. It's basically what they can pass on to their children. And so we've also seen it disproportionately harming farmers because their wealth is stored up in their land and the crops that they grow. And I just find it interesting how these left-wing economic policies almost always end up going after the people who make our food. It's not necessarily intentional, but it almost always ends up resulting in food becoming more difficult to produce or more expensive.
The owners of BlackRock, when they die, BlackRock goes to their kids. Like, why?
Well, their shares.
Yeah, that's publicly traded. That's different.
Like, it could be that I'm just talking about something that's way too ahead of its time because we're on the.
That's a chat thing to say. Yeah, it might just be because everyone else in the room is too stupid to be on my level. I'm 500 years too early for you retards. I'm still going to give him an Ian cuck because he is cucking Tim by making a really good point. And Tim doesn't really have a good defensive position. Sorry. It's true.
Money system. As long as we're using money as our currency, there's going to be this
As
problem.
long as we're using currency, you mean?
No. The currency has evolved over time. It used to be shells. We would trade little gems and shells.
There's no difference.
Then we created money as a currency type. Now we have electricity as a currency type. But like... the idea that money is the final form of currency got us into this position in the first place.
Got to stop you there because you're just very wrong.
Money is a form of currency, man. They're not the same thing.
Uh-oh. So whenever Tim gets uppity against what Ian's saying, when he doesn't seem like he wants to engage in the debate. He seems like he just wants to shut Ian down because Ian's making a good point, and Tim doesn't really know what to do other than just shut him down. He can't agree with him because Ian's saying a fucking thing that goes against what most Tim Pool fans are into. They all are libertarians, so they all super hate death taxes. For the record, I don't hate death taxes. So I'm not shipping Ian and Kim. I'm shipping Tim and Kim, but I think Ian is he's the true alpha of the group. It's pretty clear. And whenever Tim does this thing where he's just trying to forcibly shut down Ian, it seems so forced and so cringe. Let's watch the train wreck.
Okay.
You need I think the more equitable form of currency like electricity would make a lot more sense.
Do you know what currency is? Can you define it?
The definition, I could look it up really quick.
Right, a trade medium.
Yeah.
So that somebody who makes bread can trade something that holds value as an intermediary. Shells are money. Gems are money.
No, they're currency. Money is a type of currency. It's a trade medium. It's lightweight, cash.
Yeah, well, whether you do it in a dollar bill or you do it in a seashell, it's the same thing.
Or electricity,
right?
If
Because
I power your house.
But we don't trade
No,
electricity.
electricity's different.
Yeah.
That would be I trade you bread for the electricity. So that's the trading of goods. And what currency does is it allows for me to trade. I don't want your electricity.
I don't think
Yeah, it's the
electricity
double
is a
coincidence of
good.
wants.
I think it's cut to the point where if we don't have it, we're screwed.
Well, Ian, can I ask you, how would you correct for the double coincidence of wants that she was just explaining? The problem of sometimes one person who's generating wealth doesn't necessarily have something that they can trade directly.
Yeah, but the thing is, everyone is going to want electricity. In the modern world, everyone wants electricity. It's the reason why we have the petrodollar is because everybody needs petrol because everybody needs energy. I'm giving another Ian cuck because he is just hyper right on this point.
With the other person who
Also, a Samus cuck. Well, I guess it's not a gay Christian thing. He's not really agreeing with Kim.
something that they want.
Then maybe they just aren't able to make the trade.
Let's say Tim's got a bunch of bananas.
Do you think that's a good system, or are you just sort of saying that descriptively?
I don't think that just because you have a lot of money means that you're the guy that gets to pick who gets to trade what.
Let me tell you guys a story.
I don't think that's what currency does.
Let me tell you guys a story. This is a story about Occupy Wall Street.
Okay.
One day I was at Occupy Wall Street, and I saw a woman who had a table. And on that table, she had a whole bunch of socialism books. Mm-hmm. And I heard her talking to somebody about how money is the root of all of our problems, and we need to get rid of money. And I was like, I'm with it. I'm like, all right, cool. I hear you. I'm confused, right? So I asked her. I was like, so you don't think we should have money? And she goes, no, we shouldn't. People should get access to equal goods. And I said, okay, here, I have a problem. So here at Occupy Wall Street, I go out on these marches and I live stream them. That's a real value to the people who are protesting because then people can hear and see and share, right? She's like, right, yes, of course. And I was like, okay, should I get something in exchange for doing something of value for the community? And she said, well, absolutely. And I said, right. When I leave to go, when people to follow these marches and film them, by the time I come back, all of the food has been given away because the people who aren't working walk up, get the food for nothing, and then by the time I'm back from doing work, there's no food left. And she said, well, then maybe we hold some of the food for you, you know? And I said, okay, I like the idea. How do we track who, you know, and I'm asking her in all sincerity. I'm like, how do we track, you know, do we have like a list of people? It's like, we have to have these.
With a blockchain, that's all you need. Once people realize the potential of blockchain technology, we will have a utopia. I mean, we're already halfway to utopia because you can buy any drug you want off the internet pretty easily now, thanks to the blockchain.
This food for these people, would it get complicated? And she goes, well, maybe they issue like vouchers. They'll give you like a piece of paper that represents the work you did or something. And I went, like money?
That's hilarious.
And she was like, no, not like money. And I'm like, but if I had a voucher that just said it was worth some kind of trade meat, like it was worth the work I did, I could trade that with someone else and they could turn it in for the food.
It's called script. Corporations used to do that.
Money,
well, that's a type of
money.
It's a type of currency called script, and corporations would give out script to their workers, and you can only use it at the company
Company store.
Yeah, but if I don't want to buy from that company's store, right? That's the problem, and that's why we have currency. We have money that we can use as you know, so that I could, if I don't want Tim's bananas, but he wants what I've got, bread, and you've got gems to sell.
Oh God. Ooh. Oh. Man, that one gave me a migraine. Oh, that was painful to listen to. Okay, brace yourself, fam.
Money that we can use as you know, so that I could, if I don't want.
Let's rewind a little bit.
Currency, we have money that we can use.
Slow motion cringe. Are you ready for this?
Use as you know, so that I could, if I don't want Tim's bananas.
Oh, bad vibes. No, bad vibes. Oh, God damn. I mean, she's just expressing disinterest, but I still cringed so hard. That was honestly a double cringe. Poor Tim. That was a brutal one. One more for good measure. Let's just hear it in full speed, okay?
That we can use as you know, so that I could, if I don't want Tim's bananas, but he wants what I've got, bread, and you've got.
Everybody wants what I got, bread. Oh, 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 man. Oh, Tim, I'm sorry, dog. I'll stop pushing this meme. I'll stop pushing Ship Kim and Tim. Oh, that was rough. Oh, God, it gave me a hernia. Holy shit. So glad I'm not recording a date that I go on. Got a lot of balls, Tim, and I salute you.
Gems to sell me, that to make jewelry or something, you know, I don't want all these things, and so we trade in money in order to get those things.
The downside is
even
the rich guy can get a big loan and have all this funny money that he can buy all the stuff because he had access to the dollars, to the money. But it's like, money, what's the value of money, really?
The Galactic Federation uses credits.
Yeah, but I don't think they really would at that point. If they're materializing matter, they wouldn't need that stuff.
You got to watch Star Trek, man, because you know what you're talking about. Latinum? I mean, bro doesn't even know what he's talking about. Do you even watch Star Trek?
Bro, do you even Space Journey?
That was good. Well, you turned it around. You turned it around a little bit. It wasn't quite a good vibe, though. I was laughing, though.
Are we going to have a conversation on economics if you're not familiar
Materialize,
with Gene
bro.
Roddenberry's work?
Well, let's table. I'm down to table this talk, but
Well,
I
I
just-
actually pulled up a few of the key differences between money and currency because I was like, this is a great question. So money can be stored. Money can be a store of value and is intangible in nature. Currency cannot be a store of value, although it is always tangible in nature. So tangibility. Money refers to actual value of goods or services that's traded for. Currency is just a medium that we keep in our pockets to increase our purchasing power and to make day-to-day payments in our lives.
That sounds like BS because that
You
makes
disagree?
no sense. I don't see how that makes sense.
I don't understand what money is according to this.
There's cash.
Right.
Then there's digital dots, ones and zeros in a
I
bank
see.
ledger
So
somewhere.
money
But those
is-
are different.
Okay, so
different
maybe
forms
that's
of-
what they're saying.
Yeah.
So money is what you have in your bank account.
Right.
Currency is what I have in my wallet.
Right.
Okay, so that's
A
kind of-
dollar.
I don't know.
That's interesting, yeah,
ridiculous.
because they're also saying that money has intrinsic value, which you could easily argue that Fed money does not have.
Right. So that
any
makes sense
intrinsic
actually
value.
because all the money that it was printed wasn't really printed by the
Right,
Fed.
it
They
was
just
just
put it into their ledger, right? But they're just adding money. They're not adding currency into the market.
Oh,
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't believe there will ever be a circumstance in which we will not have money.
Yeah, I
I
don't.
don't-
think
I
we
don't.
can escape
Trade.
it.
Because
No, we have to have money. I don't think that there's any way, like you said, because if you are going out and videoing something, how can somebody trade that with you?
there's first we have the laws of thermodynamics, right? So even when they're conceptualizing a show like Star Trek: The Next Generation, they try. There's really interesting contradictions in the show where in some instances they're like we don't use money anymore because we have replicators, but they have beachfront, they have riverfront property or bayfront property in San Francisco. Like how do you distribute wealth or allocate resources? So I don't know how that would make sense living in a Star Trek style future with no money, but someone gets to live on the bay. No, there's value there.
Also-
And people will strive and say, how do I do something to earn more? Is it appointed to you? Well, communists have tried arguing Star Trek is communist, and they explain this is one of the reasons why. The problem is in the actual show, they couldn't overcome logical fallacies or logical plot conundrums without explaining the use of money. Why would there be a need for exploration if you could replicate everything? The replicators can't make certain complex substances.
No, hold on. Exploration in Star Trek is just like purely like to like document the universe and to like build the Federation. It's not because they need the resources. So, Tim, you just had another cringe thing because you don't even know how Star Wars works.
So you have to go and find them and get them. Otherwise, it would be a show about a bunch of gods flying around doing whatever they wanted. There'd be
It
no
basically is a show about a bunch of gods flying around, do whatever they wanted.
constraints. So within the laws of physics, when we try conceptualizing a science fiction show,
Also,
we're like,
man, stop talking about laws of physics. You're a high school dropout, and your career is not scientifically based at all. You don't know about physics. You are dumb.
there has to be money. Otherwise, they're just teleporting gods who can do whatever they want because they're constrained by nothing.
Well, yeah. And also, even if it were the case
They're
that
teleporting gods who can do whatever they want until they run into conflict with other people who have equivalent godlike powers.
we ended up in some kind of post-scarcity landscape, the reality is it's really an incoherent idea because your time will always be scarce. There's always going to be an opportunity cost to everything you do. Post-scarcity isn't even, like I said, it's not a coherent concept in this
Okay,
world.
so that was a gay
I
Christian
believe
thing.
your time is your most valuable resource, way more than any amount of money you could be given on birth. So like what you do with your life is the value. And also like what am I going to get for what I give? Maybe that's an archaic concept. Like why do people feel like they need something in return for giving to if they have enough?
Survival.
If you have enough to survive and to thrive, then
Sustainability.
why must we profit? You know, it's
For your children.
yeah,
To
if you have
create
enough
more
to
for your children.
sustain and your children have enough to sustain,
Let
then
me-
why
let
do you
me
need to rip people off and
rip
get things,
people off.
or why do you need to get things for
Listen,
the
listen
things
to
you
this
give
commie.
people?
This commie over here.
It's just a different.
I get what he's saying, and I think that there
No,
maybe
no.
is a solution to it
Uh-oh.
where it's like there's a cap where you
So, Ian, it says something that Kim agrees with. Another Ian cuck point.
you've had okay, so it doesn't hurt the farmers and it doesn't hurt even the millionaires. It's like there's a cap, and then the rest of that has to go back
I
into the
disagree.
pool.
I absolutely disagree. Why is there a system of profit? Well, some people are good at things and some people aren't.
Yeah, but some people
That's
are
not true.
born into it.
Right.
That is true.
Right.
Some people are good at things and some people
Yeah,
aren't.
that's true, but some people are getting
So, do you notice that? Let's rewind the tape. So, let's put it in slow-mo.
Agree. Why is there a system of profit? Well, some people are good at things and some people aren't.
So yeah, he's looking at Ian right now, and he's like, some people aren't good at things. Remember, this is Kim, and this is Ian. Man, I'm just not good at writing with a fucking mouse. Okay, now continue the tape.
Yeah, but some
That's
people are
not
born into it.
Right.
That is true.
Okay, so he said something. Kim said right.
Right.
Some people are good at things and some people.
Yeah.
And now he's just like, he ignored what Ian said, and now he's like looking at Kim, and he's just repeating himself. And then Kim is like doing the submissive and breedable thing and just agreeing with him.
That's true, but some people.
But of course, she was just couching what her actual position is, because she says, that's true, but. Do you notice that? So I guess that's a cute thing, because she's being submissive and breedable. Okay, Tim, come on. We're in the second half. We're at little past halftime. You can pull through, brah.
People are getting things not because they're good at something.
Right, but that's like an issue. But if you have a system where some dude is like, I've figured out a way to create energy that's extremely effective, and efficient, and then we say, but we're going to put a limit on how much you can actually grow your business. That's a bad thing.
Well, no. John Rockefeller did that exact thing. He figured out how to transport oil with pipelines, and then they had to break up his company because it was too powerful. Standard
Right.
Oil.
So I'm saying, like, stopping monopolies is different from telling the little guy he can't have 30 or more employees. You know
Actually,
what
sounds the same.
I don't think.
Ooh. Yeah. So now she's like, again, I don't like support this, but this is how the world works. Kim is disagreeing with Tim. So it's making the ship less likely each time she does that.
So
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly the same thing. If you're going to break up a monopoly, you are saying to that business owner, you cannot have XYZ thing, no matter how good you are at getting that thing.
But I'm talking about scale. I'm not talking about, like,
Principle.
Yeah, hard law. I'm saying that, like, censorship, for instance. Censorship is actually a good thing, depending on the context. If someone's posting child abuse on websites, we certainly want censors to, like, get rid of that, find those people, and arrest them. We don't want our political opinions to be censored. That's, But then there's a challenge in what constitutes a political opinion, so you have morality issues. If there's one company that controls all communications and they're censoring their political rivals, or it's a cabal in Silicon Valley, we got a very serious problem. If it's like one small website who is having their domains seized by big companies, so we want to protect the smaller guy. So my point is, yes, in certain circumstances, antitrust makes sense. But the idea someone is allowed to earn more money, they're not ripping somebody off. They're allowed to expand their business. We just don't want them to control all of the market. You know what I mean?
That's
So
for
it's a good thing.
sure.
Yeah.
So putting a
let's
limit on it.
let's talk about this story we got from CNBC. Inflation rose 7.9% in February as food and energy costs pushed prices to the highest in more than 40 years.
Yeah, it wasn't really a Timchad move, but like it was a necessary move. So clearly Tim was losing that skirmish in this relationship battle. And so he had to change the topic because he clearly was not getting anywhere. And also Kim was disagreeing with him hardcore.
Every single month.
It's
Every week.
Same
higher
headline.
and higher.
Do
Yeah.
you see that? Do you see that? He had a short flick.
Same headline. They're like, the new numbers have come out and it's worse than it's been in 4 decades. And I'm like, I've
I
read it like
feel
8
like
times.
I just saw the January numbers, right? And that was 7.5,
Yep.
and now it's 7.9 in February.
So let's talk about what this means for you guys. Ian was just discussing money and currency, and there's some interesting questions to have here. I don't care about the U.S. dollar in terms of what that means for you because we got other numbers to deal with. What I care about is how many hours do you have to work to eat a meal, to live, to have health care? And this is the big problem I have with the left when they're like, $15 minimum wage. And I'm like, the number and the piece of paper or the digital currency does not change that you will have to work a set amount of hours to earn certain resources. It's simple. If everyone in the country is getting paid $15 an hour to make a widget, the cost of widgets goes up with the cost of labor. So changing the number does not change the amount of time taken from the person to produce the object. So my thing is, when it comes to better standards of living, it's a supply and demand issue with labor versus supply, demand for labor versus supply of labor, and it's what people are willing to work for. Right now, people are not willing to work for that much. But the fact remains, if it's by government force or by unionization, if every single person says, you know what, the government won't raise our wages, then we're all going to demand it, you will still get inflation, and you will still work the exact same amount of hours for the exact same resources.
But this was the argument against abolishing slavery. I mean, because if you want really cheap goods.
Woo. Oh, that was not a good vibe at all. That's gonna be yikes for me, dog. Whoa. Did you just compare to what Tim's saying with being like a pro-slavery position? It's pretty rough.
I mean, if you're saying that, well, you can't raise wages because if you raise wages, then that's going to raise the cost of goods.
I'm saying that money represents time and value, time and labor. Time and labor won't change by mandate. So what you'll get is there's a few interesting things. The minimum wage will allow people to buy computers for less time of their lives. So we get our computers made by, like sweatshop and slave labor in a foreign country. And if a computer costs $500 and you get $500 per week from your job, if we give you a 20% raise, it'll take you 20% less time to buy that product because the product is imported from a country that uses slave labor. But if you're buying American-made goods and their wages go up the same as yours, you now have to pay the same amount of time for their
So wait, the solution is basically raise the minimum wage in America and then just export all the manufacturing jobs. Right? That's all we have to do. So, Tim Pool equals globalist? Okay. That makes sense. That tracks.
Right. So basically you're saying then what is your solution? To keep wages low.
What do you mean?
For certain groups of people in order to keep the goods low?
No, I'm saying that's not a principle or a moral position. That's a fact.
Ooh. Come on, man. You were doing so good in the first half. You had us in the first half, not gonna lie.
It's just a mathematical fact. Changing the representation of time and labor doesn't change time and labor. So if someone comes out and says, let's put it this way,
But that's clearly not true because of her slavery point. How he's blinded by love. He's got those hearts in his eyes, and he doesn't understand what he's saying.
Arbitrary gaff tape. For every hour you work, you get 1 gaff tape.
Oh my!
If we say, well, I demand 2 gaff tape, it's like, okay, but you still have to work for an hour, and
then you get 2 gaff tapes per hour. That doubles the amount of gaff tapes you got. Oh God, this is so cringe. Tim, what are you doing to me and to Kim? You're killing us.
Items just represent that hour. It doesn't matter how many of them you have. What matters is what someone is willing to pay in terms of their time for your time. So money as a number is mostly arbitrary. It's not entirely. And I'll tell you when it comes to inflation, what happens is if you work for 1 hour and you're given money to represent that 1 hour of labor, you can now exchange it for the equivalent value of 1 hour of someone else's labor. With inflation, your time is being stripped away. So now you worked for an hour and it's the equivalent to a half an hour. That's inflation. The actual number of the currency, this is completely missed by many on the left when they argue for minimum wage. If we eliminated currency from the question, you'd be saying to someone, okay, you work for 1 hour at my restaurant and you'll be able to buy a meal. Okay, money is irrelevant. Whether the meal costs $5 or $10, 1 hour gets you 1 meal. If you have 2 guys and one guy makes the meal and one guy sources the food, they're both still going to have to work 1 hour of their life to exchange the meal and to give.
I do not need to hear Tim being wrong about shit for this long.
The food to the guy to make the meal so they could both enjoy it. You change their minimum wage and now $10 represents their 1 hour. They're still asking for an hour of each other's time. So the solution to minimum wage issues is supply and demand. But again, it's the system is never going to change. This will always be the case, even if it's done through capitalism or if it's done through government command economies. The only thing that you'll get is ebbs and flows. So one of the things I think is good about a minimum wage increase is that imported goods that we get from slaves will be easier to acquire for people working minimum wage. Americans don't want to admit the reality of their slave-made goods, but that's the reality.
Yeah.
So if a slave is going to work for 1 hour to make, 50 shirts in the United States, if we give you a minimum wage,
Do you notice that? So when he says shirt, he tugs on her shirt.
so if a slave is going to work for 1 hour to make, 50 shirts in the
You see that? It's not really I guess he thinks he's being a Chad because he flicked her shirt and like he's like just forcibly controlling the conversation, and it's man, he needs someone. His producer should like do the like miming a throat cut thing to tell him to like cut it short, because like no one wants to hear this, dude. You just digging yourself a deeper hole.
United States, if we give you a minimum wage increase, that won't be a wage increase for the slave who's getting paid garbage or not getting paid at all. Americans love their foreign products. They absolutely do. Made in China, across the board. If we were to increase the wage of the sweatshop worker, same as you would not see, you might see a lag in goods that already exist coming through. And so that's one benefit of raising minimum wages. So if a shirt is made and then the person gets paid to make it and they go and buy food, and then 30 days later the shirt arrives, the cost of that shirt is still, say, $5. However, in the past week, you got a $1 raise and you made $6 this week, so you can buy the $5 shirt and have $1 left over. It feels good. However, now that they've given a raise to the other guy, within a week's time, the shirt's now $6. So raising the minimum wage is a temporary, it's a Ponzi scheme. The whole system is a big Ponzi scheme, but there you go.
It buys you about 8 months. The people love those 8 months of currency raise because you can get 20% more stuff.
Well, look what happened at the beginning of the pandemic. Our government engaged in the largest transfer of wealth that has occurred in all of human history.
Yep.
They printed about $2.2 trillion, about $450 billion of that went to the Fed to leverage out $4.5 trillion in loans. And the way the wealth is redistributed in a very insidious way is the people who get the money first in loans before the inflation really hits are the ones who benefit, and that comes off the back of everyone else who now has more difficulty affording things and who have lost the value of their savings because that money was printed devaluing the currency, or because it was flooded
change
into
the subject,
marketplace,
guys.
devaluing the currency.
The people that get first access to the money.
Yes.
That's really disturbing.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a redistribution of wealth from people who access the money first, or to people who access the money first from everybody else.
But that was because they actually added money into the system that didn't exist prior to that point.
Yeah.
So it would be different if you're raising minimum wage and a corporate boss was told you have to raise the wage to $15 an hour, but you have to do it out of the resources you currently have. You're not getting more from me. I'm not going to print money and give it to you.
But it affects. So, for example, you have inflation in certain sectors just depending on how the wealth is redistributed, as opposed to new money being created. So, for example, when the federal government started guaranteeing student loans, colleges started raising their prices, which was an inflation within that particular field, even though new money wasn't actually created.
So you'd have to actually stop greedy inflation because there's really no more demand. It's not a supply or demand issue when you're talking about things like college education necessarily.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I mean, I would agree with you
things
completely.
that are not tangible.
When you're looking at college education, there's certainly, it's greed, but we also know based on all the research, and according to the National Bureau for Economic Research, I should say, colleges are going to respond to those kinds of subsidies by raising the prices. I think what we have to do is just shift the incentives and consider the incentives before implementing any kind of policy, because the idea behind guaranteeing student loans was more people will be able to go to college. It was a very nice idea, but they didn't actually think through the incentives that was creating for the colleges, and it ended up making college less accessible for everybody in the long run.
That's why you have to do it as a two-step process. So not only do you offer an affordable education to somebody in a way by giving them some sort of access to a loan or even just free tuition. But you then would have to have the second step being that you do the control on the university itself.
Yeah, I think there's an argument to be made for that.
Wait, hold on, but that's a socialist thing. For like price fixing, like tuition controls. Yeah, so he's being dishonest. He is just saying something to agree with Kim because he is a thirsty beta. Now let's hear what Tim says.
I'd have to look into a specific policy prescription there, but
I think we just, get rid of universities.
Okay, no, that's a pretty cool thing to say. Oh, wait, what's she about to say?
specific policy prescription there, but
I think we just, get rid of universities.
You always say that, but we need education. Do you like the house you live in? Because you need an architect to build it. Do you like the roads you drive on? Do you like the doctors you go to?
This house wasn't built by an architect.
Either way, well, somebody had to actually.
Okay, that was a Chad thing to say. I was about to give him a cringe, but he reversed it, and she's being kind of cringe because what is she saying right now? Just change the subject. You all need to get off this subject. This is not a good vibe subject.
Well, then it's not structurally sound, and is it going to collapse on me?
No.
I mean,
This house was actually built by a bunch of local dudes.
but either way, some
who
architect
slowly over time
somebody had to check it to make sure that it was structurally sound, and that was an educated person who understood architecture in order to ensure that the beams are in the right spot.
Yeah.
That you have support.
Yeah, she's right. She's definitely right here. God, Tim, don't. Whatever he says next is going to determine the fate of this date. So if he disagrees with her, then it's over. And if he says, okay, fair point, like a fucking, just accept it and move on. This is not a time when you want to agree and amplify. This is a time when you want to just agree and shut it down.
Support beams where they need to be. Well,
So-
of course it's true.
No,
I mean,
no,
what
no.
about a skyscraper? So
Yep. See, he's doubling down. He's saying that's not true. But for this to be a legal house with all its forms signed, there did need to be an educated person who looked over the structural soundness of the house. Like that. This is not an illegal building that Tim is living in. Obviously not. I mean, the cops have been there 6 times and they didn't arrest him for anything. So clearly, all the documentation paperwork for the house is in place, which means an educated person did look through it.
you just want to let anybody just go and build a skyscraper without an education to know how to do it?
Do you need a certification to build a skyscraper?
It sure helps. I mean, look,
don't.
I'm not going to
You
go to
don't.
just any random Yahoo
Architects-
about some,
architecture is art.
for my doctors, for example.
So architecture is art, and engineering is the actual structure, right? So an architect will draw a pretty picture of a building.
What the fuck? Tim, that is not true at all. Don't talk about things. I mean, I guess Tim's whole shtick is he talks about things that he doesn't actually know about. Oh, Timmy, you fucked up. You fucked up big time.
Building with cool arches, and the engineer has to figure out how to distribute weight and do things like that. For this house specifically, this is a true story. It was built by a bunch of local guys who just knew basic carpentry and construction, and so they all understood the basic weight. Every beam of wood has what's the right word? How much weight it can withstand. So they have 2 beams here, 2 beams there, and they're okay, these beams can hold this weight, so we can build up to this side because the total weight pressed. It's not coming from a university. They learn these things. So we've built stuff on our own. We're having skate ramps built, and it's just guys who know how to put nails in wood and know the general capacity of certain wood. You learn these things over time.
You can learn those things, but how do you control the quality of that education that somebody learned? So somebody could come knocking on my door like a snake oil salesman and be like, hey, guess what, Kim? I could build you a house in your backyard. I know how to do it. I learned all of it. Where did you learn it? Online. I watched YouTube videos. Okay, fine. But how do
Show
I
me proof
know?
of your work.
Right. Well, somebody would have to have trusted him to start.
An apprenticeship.
But here's the thing. I mean,
So the person gets a job as an apprentice when they're young, working for.
But that's no different than a university. That's what a university is apprenticeship, just on a larger scale.
No. One pays
It's
you and you
scale.
pay the other.
But
right?
a lot of times you can't find an apprentice that'll take you on because it's nepotist. The nepotism.
Well, you misused the word apprentice, so that's a cringe. Let's see if I can set up this camera again. I'll be right back. this another try. Phone plugged in, but not phoning it in. And we have connection. Yes, I did go pee. Can't all have functional bladders that don't leak piss if you don't pee every hour on the hour. I wish it wasn't like that, but you know, I don't make the rules. And I don't control my bladder. Kitten, you coming back here? Kitten, what's that kitten doing? Let me turn. Wait, you can't even see the cat. Or maybe you can. I need to edit this scene. And we're turning this back on. We're turning this back on. Kitten, you coming back? And then we're going here, and we're turning this back on and this back on. Neat! And then we're putting this right here. See if I can keep it straight. Hey, kitten. You want to be warm? Sit on the honey thighs. Come on, kitten. Okay. It's not happening. Can't make her do anything. She's honestly the boss. I'm just a helpless simp for that little kitten. Okay, and we are good.
Or it's who you know, or they're paid off by somebody. It's essentially a university.
I mean, that's
so
but
university is just
but
education
that's not an
at
argument
scale.
for the situation at hand. That's just an argument for maybe there's crime, or maybe there's social problems. If the issue is you're going to tell someone to go spend tens of thousands of dollars to go to university so they can learn something and be in a classroom, versus someone can get paid to work, even if you're just getting coffee to start for the first month, and actually watch something.
Also, let me get on a little tangent. So, women, men, college. So, college is rapidly becoming a thing that females do. It's not really a manly thing anymore. Men are supposed to be islands. You're supposed to be independent. You're supposed to be, our own man. We're not supposed to take help from anyone. And college it's also kind of a bad deal. The thing is, a lot of women, they could get these entry-level secretary jobs, or just entry-level jobs in general, without going to college. But once they have that degree, it makes them that much more attractive. Usually the main reason why people want to hire women for entry-level jobs is they like having women underneath them, both figuratively and metaphorically. But no one, an incompetent man who needs to be taught things, it's just unattractive and not cool to most people. I don't know if you've ever had sex, but virgin women expect virgin men to be super good at sex, because that is just the default. And women don't have that pressure. There's no pressure to perform, as I say. And it's the same deal with an entry-level job. They're kind of like a virgin to work, if that makes sense.
Happening in real time, university is detrimental.
So, well, first of all, I don't think you should have to pay tens of thousands of dollars for university. So it should be something that is...
Well, who pays for it?
Well, I don't think... knowledge shouldn't be so expensive. I mean, you certainly would want your professors and to be able to live and feed their families and have a nice life. So that
what she's saying is it shouldn't be a paid thing. It should be like she wants a some organization to give you a certificate, so like you can get a official certification for things, rather than just winging it and saying, "Yep, learn a bunch of shit on YouTube." I wonder if she'd be fine with like an online course rather than like a YouTube video.
Are incentivized to become professors, but it doesn't need to be to the level where it's at, where these universities are getting these they have these massive accounts worth billions and billions of dollars. I mean, it's just outrageous.
Well,
But
so,
you'd have to find that. So with this whole idea of going to a society and just eliminating university,
well, I'm not actually calling for eliminating universities.
you just did.
That was me being hyperbolic.
That was me being a fucking troll. And that was the law for me, dog. It was kind of a cool thing for her to call out Tim like that.
I thought that was fairly
You
obvious.
say it every time I talk.
I don't
to
say
you.
you
I feel like you're always
abolish
like,
universities.
you don't like universities.
Yeah, I think people shouldn't go to them, but I think in terms of like research at universities and grants, those are fine for certain jobs. Like you want to be a doctor. I understand why we make people go to school to be a doctor and get a certification there. But for the most part, universities should be like an aside.
Well, so maybe they've expanded, and maybe you don't agree with all of the topics that they teach.
I'll tell you this. If someone tries to get a job from me and they have college on their resume, it's a net negative outright out of the gate.
But that's just because you have bias. But that's just you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Quite literally. And it's because in my experience, I have already hired many people who have spent too much time at institutionalized learning facilities and have not enough real world experience. They can't understand how to make things function properly. So for me personally, I'm like, if you've spent this much of your life in school, you probably, I think that's a net negative. However, portfolio is the most important thing. You come to me and say, I went to college. I'll say, sure, whatever. Show me your portfolio. You can't do that. I'm not interested. But my issue is, I've spent a lot of time around people who have chosen to start working from a young age, worked side jobs throughout high school, and then decided to get into an industry outside of high school. And then I know a lot of people who went to college and didn't know what they're going to college for, but they were told to by their parents, and that's what everyone was told to do, racked up a bunch of debt, and now have no idea what they're doing with their lives and are miserable, paying off debt, working crappy jobs.
Right. So the debt part is the issue. It's not really the actual experience of going to college, because you can't expect every 18-year-old to know what they want to do with their lives at the time that they're 18.
I disagree. I think that's a huge social problem we have. I knew what I wanted to do for the most part.
But that was you. So again, it's there's a lot of people that they're still finding themselves.
And they shouldn't be at 18. Because you're
That's
an adult
retarded.
at 18. Yeah. And
Come on, Tim.
so this is one of the problems we have as a country.
Come on, man.
When I was a little kid, I was playing music, I was skateboarding, I was rollerblading, and I was programming websites and video games on a computer, and I was reading the news. When I was like 10 years old, I'm on CompuServe and AOL, and I'm reading articles, and I'm doing it, and somehow managed to, here I am, not 36. A bunch of my friends were doing literally nothing. I was homeschooled from the time I was born until I started preschool, until I started kindergarten. A bunch of my friends sat around doing...
That's not what homeschooled means. That's just your parents teaching you how to read. That's not from the time I was born to kindergarten. That's not like home preschool. That's just people don't like to send their babies to like a daycare program.
Nothing but watching TV, just mindless nonsense. By the time they were 18, they were like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I was like, I've written several songs, I've recorded and published them, I've made several websites, I've done a bunch of odd jobs. And then people were like, go to college. I was like, what for? I'm already working, I'm already getting experience in all this stuff. And I'm watching people go to college being completely clueless. The problem is we as a society have been telling our kids to do nothing and say, just go to school, just go to school. We've put them in institutionalized learning facilities that don't teach them anything. School sucks. Every kid thinks it. Every kid says it. So we're taking kids and saying, for 22 years of your life, you're going somewhere you hate. Now you're 22, you're out of college, I expect you to have skills that's going to be valuable to society. And they don't. It's not surprising.
But a lot of them do.
I think that's a relative argument. I think if you took a kid who grew up and worked on his dad's farm or in his dad's smithing shop or smelting, work smelting, or watched his dad weld, and then he grew up and went to high school and learned basic math and stuff and had been working at the family business, you take that person at 18 compared to an 18-year-old who did none of those things, The 18-year-old fresh out of high school who worked for his dad's shop is going to tell you about accounting, finance, banking. He's going to explain to you what time the workers come in. He's going to know about the labor laws. And that other kid's going to be like, I have no idea what any of that is. And you expect the kid who did nothing but go to an institutionalized learning facility to know what they want to do with their life. The kid who was welding when he was 13 is going to be like, I once made this really cool structure with my dad. They're going to have that memory. They're going to have the experience. And at the very least, they're going to have real world work experience and connections in their community. I think school is one of the biggest detriments to human civilization. I think that I understand parents can't be there explaining math and history to all these kids. But now you take a look at what's going on with like Florida, Don't Say Gay. You take a look at what's going on with teachers refusing to let parents know what they're teaching their kids and then teaching these kids a lot of complete wacky activist nonsense. I'm like, it's just gotten worse from the get-go. We used to be a civilization of apprentices. The kids would watch the parents work. Not only was I homeschooled, but my mom opened a coffee house and I got to watch how the business worked.
Well, I mean, this is a good thing to say on a date, I guess, like telling them about your home life. Now, let's see if she agrees. That's the real test here.
So I'm in 6th grade and I'm earning money. And so I've got money, I've got responsibility. I bought my own Game Boy and my own Pokemon Red. That was for
Why the fuck are you talking about Pokemon, dude? Oh man, this kid needs to get high a little more often. Whatever.
me. I guess in this civilization, I was lucky to have all those things.
You were. I wish that my parents had a business. I always wished that growing up.
And that's what we need to do
You do learn
to
a lot
civilization.
from that. But the thing is I agree with you that society definitely pushes education.
She agreed with him, even though he was kind of cringe. So the first thing out of her mouth was, I agree with you.
Way too hard.
Sorry, I live in the ghetto, if you heard that fucking beeping.
And that they devalue the apprenticeship sort of track for kids. And I do agree that they absolutely allow kids to just kind of go through and not know what they're wanting to do and just continue on that aimless path. But, just even looking in you sharing your experience, me sharing mine, anecdotally, my dad, on his side of the family, my grandfather was a farmer. He was the son of a farmer that immigrated here.
So, they're both, connecting now. Aw, such good vibes. This metric is kind of lagging, though, not gonna lie. Tim's been pretty Chad, and also flicking his shirt a lot. And Kim has been making me cringe more than I thought she would, but goddamn, that double cringer. Oof. Can't wait to unpack that.
From Denmark, then ran the farm. My grandfather hated the farm. He became a teamster. He was a trucker. He supported all 7 kids being a truck driver. My grandmother was a secretary at a newspaper. All 7 of my dad's siblings, of the 7 kids, my dad was the only one who went to college. Everybody else in my family, blue-collar workers. They all worked in factories. They were dry cleaners. They were landscapers. They were working to the bone every day, back-breaking work. My dad went to college, got a computer programming degree, was able to then get a really good job. Out of the 7 kids, we absolutely had more money than the others. There's no doubt about that.
How old was your dad? When was he born?
47.
So my theory on this is that your dad likely went to college because he liked computers and he was passionate about something. See, back then, our society didn't tell people college was mandatory. It wasn't.
Right.
So your dad,
So yeah, this is a pretty Chad thing to say because he's correct. Oh, and look, notice this.
In this age,
Oh wow, that was a double shirt adjust. So yeah, good job, Tim.
the 60s and 70s, people were able to get a high school diploma and then support their family. A family of 5 on just a high school diploma was normal. So why go to college at all unless you really wanted to because you were passionate about it? So I'd argue your dad made more money because of his passion, not because he went to college.
Well, because the job he got commanded more money. So he was able to get a job of a higher wage that put us into upper middle class versus my family, which was blue collar middle class.
You know what I love? Jimmy John's sandwiches. Is it difficult to make sandwiches?
Why the fuck are you talking about Jimmy John's, bro? Chill the heck out.
No. Do you need a degree to learn how to make a sandwich? Absolutely not. But Jimmy John is a rich dude because he made a lot of sandwiches.
Right.
So the college argument for wealth.
Yeah. He got lucky. Tim's pretty dumb about work.
Absolutely no sense. You could be the best dang chimney sweep in the country and be a millionaire.
But that's like one. But that's a few. So you have an entire group of, let's say, lawyers, right? As a whole, on average, they make way more money than an entire group of sandwich makers. So you've got, yes, the Jimmy John, who happens to be, and I know Jimmy John actually, who happens to be.
Big fan. We ordered Jimmy John every day this week because of my birthday week.
I love Jimmy John's also, but yeah.
Oh, good vibes. Yeah, they should just go out on a date and get Jimmy John's. And that was a cute thing for her to say. Good job.
I used to live in Champaign, Illinois. I did radio
Really?
there. Yeah,
Yeah, I've been through the area quite a bit. Yeah.
We put them on the panini grill and get them. Oh man.
Oh, really? I've never tried that. Oh, that's good. I mean, they are good damn good sandwiches, right?
Yes, lawyers make more than sandwich makers, but my point
On
is,
average, right.
no matter what job you choose, you can be rich if you're passionate and driven.
That's
to do
true.
it.
Also,
you
sandwich
can.
makers are much more popular. But I'll
Yeah.
get
That's
back to
true,
that.
too.
They're way more liked, right?
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. But, I look at my mom's side of the family, for example, and they're all Vietnamese immigrants. And what do you think Vietnamese immigrants do when they come here to America? I'll give you one guess. Nobody wants to be there. Nobody wants to.
I want to say
nobody
something,
wants
but
to
I'm not
clean
going to say it on TV.
Yeah, right.
You said dry cleaners.
Nail salons, right?
Yeah.
So they do nail salons. So everybody in my family on my mom's side, and they work and they scrub feet literally for a living.
That's hard work.
It is. It's very hard work. And they do it so that they would put my generation through college. And what do they tell all of us kids? They say, you're going to go to college and you're going to be engineer. You're going to be doctor. You're going to be lawyer. Right? And that's it. And that was the only choices we had. We had like 3 choices, and that's all you could be. And they were scrubbing feet in order to put us into college, in order to get those jobs. Because on average now, my generation, which is, now we're in our 30s and 40s, we on average make more money than my mom's generation. Now, that being said, my aunt is a very wealthy nail salon owner who owns a ton of nail salons in the Beverly Hills area. So she owned 5 nail salons. She does all the celebrity nails. She's been the big hot shot nail salon owner in Beverly Hills since 1988. Makes the most money out of everybody. There's no doubt about that. But collectively as a whole, my generation makes more money than my mom's generation on average. So there was the one that got lucky, but she has to support the rest. My generation, none of us have to support each other because we all make enough money to support ourselves.
I mean, why? I don't think it's luck at all. One.
It was hard work for sure, but it was also luck because a lot of other people work very, very hard. And I don't want to discount the fact that somebody works very, very hard, but just never got the break in life to make a bunch of money.
I don't think it's the break. I think it's, the saying is chance
Tim,
favors
you
the
are
prepared.
officially retarded with this
Some
take.
people are prepared to make sacrifices or take chances, and others aren't.
But sometimes your chance and the success, like you were born here in America, so you had the opportunity to have a lot of success in America. But if you were an immigrant coming in from like El Salvador and you've got to literally walk your rear end all the way across a continent to get yourself into America, that was a lot of hard work. And then you get here and maybe you're only living in a 2-bedroom apartment, but to you that's rich compared to where you could have lived.
You think I had a 2-bedroom apartment?
No, I'm saying to that person. If that person lived in a 2-bedroom apartment here, that's to them wealth.
Oh, yeah.
They've made it, right?
Yeah, 2
but
bedroom
compared
to,
to
me was
you
wealth,
is
too.
not.
Yeah, it was.
But but to this guy, this guy was living in a
God
shack.
damn it, Tim! You're
on
fucking
dirt
it
in
up
El
for
Salvador or
yourself.
something. So
See,
everybody's
this is why Tim still isn't married at age 36, despite being a millionaire.
wealth is relative to where they came from, And so, I mean, I know guys that started off with millions and then they made billions,
Yeah.
and to them that was
Donald Trump started off with $1 million.
Small loan of $1 million.
Yes.
That's a problem. That
Going
wealth is
to
relative.
to Sweden and seeing the bad neighborhoods in Sweden, and I was like, this is so nice. Like the houses, like the apartments for like the poor people were just like.
Yep. So now
wealthy
this is a good
area of
thing. Now he's
Chicago.
bragging about how worldly he is. Another excellent thing to do when you're on a date. Timchad?
And I told them that, and they were just like, yeah. I'm like, Chicago's bad, man. It's really bad.
You had to go to Sweden to figure that out.
Let's go to Super Chats, though, and we'll have more on this. I think I love the conversation, by the way, but we'll go to Super Chats now because we want.
I love the conversation, by the way. Did you catch that? Or maybe you just love Kim. Shit. Love is in the air. I don't know. Oh, man. Should I cover the Q&A? Yeah, Q&A usually has pretty interesting, relevant stuff. Let's try it. Let's see how it goes. I'm going to be editing this later, by the way. And I'll just do the evaluation at the end. The overall rating.
Make sure we can get as many as possible. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, share the show with your friends. Go to timcast.com, become a member. We're going to have a special members-only segment up at 11 p.m. on the website. You don't want to miss it. Let's read more.
So I think he was flicking his shirt just now because every time he says something that's like well practiced and like, you know, cool, like what he just said, it flowed out of his mouth. He's very experienced at like giving that like promotional line. Not necessarily alpha, but it's like being professional, I would say, is also, that's like where the shirt flick came from. And also I guess he is like he's just adjusting his shirt because he's like getting up to use the mouse.
From you guys, we got Tier 728 says the judge looked like a complete clown after the sentencing. He doubled down on his lies, the judge did, and proceeded to inflame racial tensions further. After years of court, wasted resources, 5 felonies, perjury on the stand, and hours, etc. You mean Jussie looked like a complete clown after sentencing?
The judge.
It says the judge, but I don't think the judge was the one yelling. It was Smollett. All right.
I don't know, maybe this is a pro Jussie tweet. It's a pro Juicy
maybe, yeah.
super chat.
Interesting.
Cristiano says, Kim, thanks for keeping it real over there at Rising. Ryan and Robbie are cool and all, but you're the one bringing the fire. I do have to say, I think you were the perfect person for them to have.
Timchad. So pointing at her and saying, I think you are the perfect person. In fact, yeah, that deserves an instant replay in slow-mo.
The perfect person for that.
Yeah, for him to impregnate.
Them to have hired for Rising.
They haven't technically hired me.
Oh, well, then they're not.
They're afraid
But
See, that was a cute thing for her to say.
when I heard that they were having you come
And he did a little fucking shirt tug. Although, I'm going to connect that to the Chad point I just gave him.
on
Yeah.
Rising, I was like, smartest decision they could have made.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Dude, Ryan's great. That guy's awesome.
Yeah. Your friends?
He seems real stable.
Ryan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got a real like soothing presence.
He's very cool. Yeah, today, I just met him for the first time today.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, in person. Never met him, and he's real quiet.
Raymond G. Stanley Jr. says, Kim, how do you feel about working with Suave?
Suave.
Oh.
Good.
Well, he's
I mean,
found
I
over
like.
Y,
I
so-
love both of them. They're both great. I like Ryan and Robbie. We're all friends.
All right. That's it. All right.
I don't
let's-
see them much. I'm in LA, and
Yeah.
they're here in DC.
Distance.
And so, like I said, I've met Robbie one time when he came to LA, and I just met Ryan for the first time today. So,
W. Falcon says the trifecta: Tim, Kim, and Shim.
Oh, shit. So, someone else is like, I guess they're not shipping Tim and Kim. They're shipping Tim, Kim, and Shim for like a weird throuple. That's just good vibes. That is a trifecta. A male, female gangbang relationship.
Kimcast. I know she could have made it Kimcast, but she.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Why did we do that?
Alpha Freedom Fighter says, Tim, today is my son's 5th birthday. Can you shout him out? Happy birthday, Lincoln Hennessy.
Oh,
oh, cute.
Well, all right.
good name.
I guess she said cute. I guess that counts.
Sarah says, happy belated birthday. I hope this gets you a couple of nice, extra well-done steaks at your favorite bottle of ketchup.
Yeah.
I love it.
We call it the Trump. You get it nice and seared and cooked all the way through.
Nice and
Good
brown.
Yeah, brown and tough.
We got to get some
Schlock ketchup.
organic ketchup without the high fructose. I can't do the high fructose.
It's gross. We should make our own.
Oh,
We should grow our own tomatoes and make our own
Easily
ketchup.
done. Yeah.
All right, let's grab some more. Steven says, hey, Tim, are you going to go see Sonic the Hedgehog 2 next month? You know it. I haven't seen the Batman yet. Maybe I should go see
Oh,
that.
yeah. I hear it's good.
I'm waiting for
Really?
it to come out on HBO Max.
Yeah.
Batman? It's long. It's 3 hours.
Too much.
Yeah, man. All right.
They've raised the prices of movies
Yeah, that's
so
such
much.
a scam.
well, how much are they now?
Well, and now I think AMC didn't they? Which one?
So
announced
she's
that
like trying to continue the conversation about movies. That's another good thing. Like whenever a topic's brought up, and then the other party that you're trying to fuck like starts expounding upon it, very very good sign. I guess I would give this a Tim or Kim cute.
going to? Did they announce that they're going to be doing it based on the popularity of the movie?
Yeah.
What the
Really?
heck?
Don't like that.
Yes, that's terrible.
Interesting.
Just wait until it comes out at home. Everybody's got big
seriously.
screen
Like a stock
TVs now.
It's fascinating how that's going to affect box office numbers too, because
Right.
we were talking earlier about like economics and incentives, and the more expensive the movie becomes, as it gets more popular, the fewer people are going to want to pay the money to go see it.
Oh, maybe
I don't-
they'll start off cheap, and then as the weeks you want to go see it early before it starts getting expensive.
want to get it on the film.
It's like an IPO.
Dude, you're a scalper, and if you think a movie's going to be really popular, you buy up a bunch of tickets before it gets popular, and then you start selling them
Black
outside the
market.
theater.
It's like an IPO, though. You know, they're basically saying, like, you know, Resident Evil is going to be starting at $10 because we don't think anyone's going to want to see it. And then people are like, I'll do $10.
I'll see it.
And they go see it. You know?
I'll buy 1,000 of those tickets.
What I'm saying, it's
about
interesting though, because it'll even it out though. If I'm fascinated to see how that turns out, because if each film doesn't cost the same amount, people are going to make their decision to see a film based on the price, which is not something we've really seen before with major motion pictures.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
All right. Chris Blank Production says, who wants to place bets that Smollett will write a book about being innocent in prison after all of this? Well,
If
he's not
I-
going to prison, but jail.
If I did it, or
Yeah,
something.
right.
The true story.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be really funny if, like, Jesse really was innocent. It would be,
I
it'd be
know.
the funniest
Wow.
thing ever.
Dude, what a great Twilight Zone episode that would be.
What a twist.
Oh, we should make that. We should just
Alternate
do it. Come on,
universe.
like, who wants to produce
Tim,
crazy shows?
let's hire him. He's an actor. When he gets out of jail, he'll be like, look, you're probably never going to work again. We can give you one more opportunity. We can give you one more
Yes.
opportunity. Act in this for us.
Let's
We're going to
make-
tell your story.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we offer to tell a story.
But
I
that was
do
Samus
remember.
saying,
I was saying before we should
Tim
do the
Thunder.
Justice Smollett short film. You know, we can go to Chicago and we can film it. Go to the
At 2
NBC.
That would be amazing.
You know, the building right there and.
All right. Well,
Subway.
which one of you is going to be Jesse?
Yeah. Oh, no, we're going to
Seamus
hire
for
Yeah,
him.
we're gonna hire
sure.
Jesse.
Oh, we're gonna
What?
hire him.
Ian, why me?
I'll hire Jesse.
Ian, you're the actor.
That's
it's true,
true,
yeah.
actually.
All right. Kenny says Smollett should be charged for his mail crime. That's true too.
What was that?
A letter was sent to the studio before this happened, you know, insulting him and calling him a slur or something. And I'm it's been a while since I read it, but I'm pretty sure they said that he sent it to himself. I don't know if that's true though, but I think
That's
what people-
believable, isn't it?
Yeah.
I guess that's a Timchad. She did like immediately agree with him after he flicked his shirt. So let's quick replay.
that he sent it to himself. I don't know if that's true though, but I think
That's
what people-
believable, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then when no one
Nice.
believed it and took action, he escalated and was like, "Oh, okay, fine." Yeah, so Jason says in some states you can request a firing squad as the means to carry a death sentence. Even the accused can request it.
I think in Utah you can request a firing
Wow.
squad.
Yeah.
Firing
you
squad.
can, yeah.
I think the death penalty is wrong. So, you know, whatever.
I mean, I guess I'll give him a sure flick. I should not have like combined these. They didn't overlap quite as much as I wanted. But again, so he thinks he's saying something alpha by like just reiterating how he's so nobly against the death penalty, because that is a pretty rare thing among his viewers.
What would you guys pick if you had to pick? Firing squad?
If I had
Totally.
to choose, yeah, I think firing squad.
Quick.
Would you really though?
I guess so.
I mean, if I had no
Drawn
choice.
and quartered.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
yes.
wild.
Is that what the
Yeah, yeah, she wants to be all tied up. That makes sense. And also, she's in the knife play.
Yeah. That's
Oh,
What
Yikes.
about like
the
It's
rack
quartered
is-
because they cut you into 4 pieces.
Yeah, it's great.
what about carbon monoxide poisoning? Isn't
Oh,
that
like
peaceful?
in your sleep, yeah.
I don't think they
Those
administer the
suicide
death penalty
pods.
that way, though.
Yeah.
Why
Unfortunately.
don't they?
Yeah, that's really
It's very
nice.
humane, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
I think the death penalty is wrong, and we should not have it anyway, because you know.
It's too late. You already said it. Media Matters is going to clip it.
Dang,
Tim thinks,
here you go.
the Daily Beast, Tim thinks the death penalty should be
We just-
administered by carbon monoxide poisoning.
Well, I didn't say no. Honestly, I think we should be way more humane if there's going to be a system doing it. I just think it's wrong. So, anyway, let's read more of these super chats. Nathan Coxey says the 4 horsemen in Revelation. First horse given crown and bow. Look at root words in Greek and Latin. They are corona and toxin. Second horse causes war. Third horse brings famine, and the fourth brings death to a third of the people. Second seal has been opened.
I looked
Yeah,
it
that true,
it's
Seamus?
the famine.
I looked it up.
I am extremely skeptical of any claim that we are living through Revelation.
Yeah, but I will say that the
that's good.
translations check out. The Greek is a poisoned bow, toxon, not toxin, toxon, Toxon. And the Latin for crown, of course, obviously is corona.
Here's the point. Whether this is the end of the world, your world is going to end someday. Everybody
Exactly.
dies. Get right
Yeah.
with God.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
whole end of the world thing is like a trope that throughout history people are like,
always
"Oh,
thought that, yeah.
the end is near." Oh,
And, you know,
come
everybody
on,
hurts
man.
sometimes.
Sometimes.
Sometimes, Yeah.
Everybody cries.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
That's right. I remember when I moved out.
That was definitely a way to steal Tim's thunder. Just saying everybody cries and just looking at Tim for no reason.
LA the first time, there was a billboard, and it was like the end of the world is coming. And there was like some guy had bought a bunch of billboards claiming the world was going to end in like 2011 or whatever. And then I remember like the world didn't end, you know?
Right,
So,
yeah.
like, I wonder
That's what you
happened to all those
think.
people and their money.
Y2K, is that like?
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah, we went
we're
deep
in
on
for a
that
delayed
last
one. Yeah.
night.
We're way overdue for Y2K. I think that means it's coming soon.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, the end is near.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm just kidding about that.
Captain Forehead says, Dave Smith quote, if you want to know who America's next enemy is, look at who we are funding right now.
Yes. Love that quote.
Yeah, great quote.
On point.
Smart guy. That Dave
We need to
Smith
roll
feller.
back the state. We're spying on all of our own citizens.
right, it's
our
true.
prisons are flooded.
Yeah. Well, my favorite headline of all time is CIA armed rebels turn against FBI armed rebels. Top notch. Amazing. That's a real headline.
Oh, it's so sad.
Incredible.
Sandwich says LOVEbit was an encrypted email provider that chose to shut down instead of handing records over to authorities. Now that is admirable.
Good for them.
Absolutely, that's amazing.
Is that, by the way, is that like how the CIA and FBI have their like friendly competition? Like that's their annual softball game, is they each arm a group of rebels
Yes.
and send them to war with each other?
It's like firemen versus cops.
Who picks
Alessio,
the better rebels?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Alessio Damonte says Alex Jones just posted that Pentagon warns Putin may start a nuclear war on Rumble. I wonder if it will turn true like 90% of anything he says. I don't know if everything he says or that much
That's a
turns out
high
to be true.
number.
That's a very high number.
Yeah.
The reason why there's a bit about Alex Jones being right is that he often says things that seem crazy, and then it turns out he's right. So, you know, he predicted back in October a war in February.
Right.
There's a short
And,
flick.
he talked to me a bit about how he knew it, and he said
not giving him two for
in
that.
the full show he explains exactly how he knows it. He has sources. There were certain high level individuals making statements, and people clipped it, but they didn't post the full explanation. So
And
people are like, he was right again. It's like, well, listen to what he said. He had like sources and public sources, you know.
I did want to say that the most hyperbolic things Trump said about the Biden administration have completely come true. $7, $8, $9 gas. Yeah, it's totally happening. So.
Lydia, remember when I told you this was a president who couldn't disappoint me?
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Along those
Yeah,
There
lines.
you
that's
go.
definitely
All
true.
right. Nonpartisan Media says, Tim, you need to red pill Ian. That or start looking into his background and see if he's working for the deep state. Seems to be pushing establishment lines more than ever tonight. LOL.
I'm controlled opposition, dude.
Oh, snap.
Ian, are you a cop?
You have to tell
Yeah,
me if
you
you're a
have to tell
cop.
us,
That's
yeah.
entrancement. That's
Yeah.
entrapment, dude.
I'm
Trans-
not
transmit.
lying
He's-
right now.
No, come on. You know, Ian's not a
Wait,
cop.
wait.
He's an alien.
This
Yeah.
is a lie.
This is a lie. What I'm saying right now
This
is
is a lie.
Yes.
This sentence is a lie. All right. Seymour says Trump on Nelk or Mr. Beast on JRE. Mr. Beast on JRE. I haven't listened to either of them, though.
Yeah.
But I think with Trump on Nelk, you know, at this point, I don't know if Trump's going to reveal anything we don't already know.
He's
You know,
revealed it all.
honestly, because he just says things and he talks a lot and he posts a lot. But I think the important things you'd want to hear from Trump right now about the future, he obviously isn't going to be talking about for obvious reasons. Mr. Beast on JRE, I'm interested to see that. You know, interesting guy.
It was cool. I
But
saw
they're
a
both
little
good.
bit
They're
of
both
it.
really good. So I don't know why you'd put they're very different. One's political and one's not.
I like Mr. Beast. I never knew much about him, and then I'm like, oh, some young upstart, and now he's got like 77 million subscribers. I'm like, this guy's just so
77
kind.
million?
It was some huge number like that. Yeah, it
He
is-
just gives money to people.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's amazing.
Makes money and then gives
Yeah.
it
People
back.
like that.
Yep.
He's
Get
really
rich off
cool.
giving money away.
That's kind of cool.
All right, let's grab some more. Let's see.
91.6 million subscribers. Number one on YouTube.
Woody says the retroactive crime comment made me comment. How can we fight back against the ATF? Recently, changes were made to Form 1 suppressors. I bought a solvent trap to make one legally. Now they're considered unregistered suppressors, meaning I would be a felon. This is wrong.
Wow.
Yep, that's what Ian was saying. Remember, you were like, the dictator could just change the law?
Yeah, I don't like
Retroactively.
that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Abolish the ATF.
Not cool.
You got to abolish the
ATF. Biden's been talking about doing some executive order for. I'm really tired of these executive orders. By
Yeah.
the way, what went wrong? Is this George Bush started abusing it, and then ever since? Do you remember, Kim?
I feel like he did start, but it's just escalated. Each presidency has used more and more and more.
Yeah.
But I'm not 100% certain on if it was Bush or Obama.
Obama went hard on
He
executive
did.
Yeah.
orders.
It might have been Obama because he was so opposed. You know, who was it, McConnell that said, I'm going to do everything I can to stop every single thing that this guy tries to do.
I remember Bush using the war on terror as an excuse to do all sorts of extra congressional action. It was really disturbing.
Yeah, that's what I remember.
And like it's a trend. It's got
It wasn't as much as
Yeah.
So
Obama
this,
though,
now
or
granted,
Trump,
my
to be
source
honest.
here is CNN. So like, let's be really careful with this. But apparently, Eisenhower had far more in terms of like executive orders than did Bush, Obama, or Trump. It seems as if it was actually decreasing for a number of years and then went up with Trump. But this is CNN, all right? So let's
Yeah.
be careful.
Check Wikipedia.
Yeah,
Check
honestly.
your sources.
Shinobi Strongside says, please have Ian look up Jacques Fresco and his Larry King interview.
Yeah,
Fresco.
he
You're
did.
familiar.
Jacques was building this like utopian world. Did you guys ever?
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
the circular cyber cities or whatever.
Yeah, and it was without money. I think that's why he brought that up. I
Interesting.
didn't know he did a Larry King interview though. Thanks.
Yeah, check it out. But that was like the Zeitgeist movement talked a lot about Jacques Fresco.
Yeah, and when I watched Jacques in the 2006 and 5, I thought he was a crackpot. It was too early in my life to really appreciate what he was doing. I thought this guy's got a dream that's never going to happen. Womp womp. It was really sad. And now I'm like, I should have given that guy more credence and kind of supported him, I think.
Probably true.
This is fast, by the way. I'm looking through a bunch of different charts from different sources, so we're not stuck with CNN. And
Thank
a
you.
lot of them measure it differently, but most of them seem to have executive orders peak, unsurprisingly, with FDR.
Interesting.
Wartime stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
That would make some sense, I suppose.
Martin Buckley says, does Kim get attacked for her segments by colleagues? She's like Tucker having a platform on CNN.
Yep, that's true.
I would say it's like Tucker having a platform on Fox News. Have you listened to Hannity?
Yeah, they're not. I mean,
Do you-
I
but-
agree.
You run against the grain at Hill?
I don't know. Sure. I mean, I
cool
don't know
thing
if
to
there's
say.
like really a grain, but I mean, I would say that whatever any beef that we have about my segments, you see on air. So
Yeah,
there
that's
have
what I
been
do here.
some,
That's cool.
yeah, but nothing off air.
Nice.
All right. Xerosifer says, for Ian, can I build a good table for you? $100. I know a guy that makes amazing tables that are like works of art and sells them for $25K. How can you say he needs to sell for what I do, or how can you quantify his skill? The market has to decide.
Yeah, you can give me a table. Was that the question?
I think he was like making a hypothetical.
Give me the table, dude. I didn't really get the question. I got kind of confused with the amount of words in that thing. So
I think
sorry.
he's asking. He says that the value of his friend's skill is such that he's able to sell a product that's worth $25,000. Whereas if he were to make you a table, it would be worth $100.
Well, it
Right,
depends on if
yeah.
I need a table or not.
Well, it depends on the value of of the work, right? Of the workmanship.
Yeah, I mean, what if you
Alright.
put stuff on your table and it falls down?
Exactly.
Look at this table.
Yeah. That's a great table.
This table was expensive.
Expensive table.
Yeah.
Nice
Supply and
table.
demand. I think that people
I got
think
good news,
just because
though.
they're good at something, they deserve money for it is a big problem. Because if there's no demand for
What?
your work, then
Why
you're
would
not
they
going to.
not?
This
if there's
guy's
no
never
dema-
watched The Dark Knight.
If there's no demand for your labor, then you're not going to get paid,
Yeah,
even if you're the
that's the
best on earth
market.
at it.
Yeah.
What?
People that do things and they just assume they're owed something for it. If there's no
Oh, okay, that's
demand for your
different.
So
labor,
true.
yeah, then
Yeah, that
whole
I
money
agree with.
economy thing where like I'm going to go sit in a room and stare at a wall for an hour and get paid $9.
I'm good at that. Yeah.
Come on.
I like the line in The Dark Knight. Great movie, full of good quotes. When Joker's
You
like,
bringing up
"It's simple,
fucking
we
superhero
kill
movies,
the bad."
dog. Like it's. I don't think she's into. I don't know. She did say she liked movies earlier, so maybe it'll work.
Batman. And they're like, if it's so simple, why haven't you done it? And he's like, my mom always said, if you're good at something, don't do it for free.
That's right.
That was so good.
Love it.
I love the I'm gonna make this pencil disappear. What
Oh,
a great
gosh.
movie. There's a lot of plot holes in it. Like it's kind of dejected as a film, but it's one of my favorite films. You know, weird jumping points, like whatever.
I need to watch that movie.
He was
But-
fishing
oh,
for an
man, I gotta
agreement
tell
and he
you, one
didn't
of the
get it.
best lines.
So that's a Tim
seriously, the
cringe.
writing for the Joker in The Dark Knight.
Shut up, dude. Shut up.
When he's
Ah.
talking to Harvey Dent. Wow. You know that scene where he's in the hospital?
I took
bed?
your little plan and I turned it on itself when he's got.
And he's
that-
like, if I
Yeah.
were to tell the media that like a gangbanger will get shot or a truckload of soldiers will be blown up, well, nobody cares. But when I say one little old mayor will die, well, then everyone loses their minds. Amazing.
Is that Jeremiah?
Okay, so
No.
what's Tim doing right now? He's quoting the Joker. You can't do a more incel thing than quote the Joker on a date. But I already assigned his cringe point. I was just making that clear.
Oh
No.
no
Heath
no.
Ledger.
Heath Ledger.
Heath Ledger.
Oh,
Yeah.
But it was great writing.
And you're gonna
'cause-
get in trouble for that one.
I don't
to be
watch
honest.
Torch.
But it was
cartoon
writing to me.
hero
because-
movies
Like
anymore.
it was good.
Oh,
writing.
damn. That's the instant replay. Oh, fuck.
You're gonna get in trouble.
No.
No.
Okay, so right now the dynamic is Tim is like, "What? You said something incorrect about a superhero movie? God, you're an idiot, Ian." Now let's play it.
Ledger.
Heath Ledger.
Heath Ledger.
Oh,
Yeah.
But it was great writing.
Okay, do you see, like, Tim flicked his shirt for saying that, for shutting down Ian? But then Ian's gonna do some jujitsu and flip it around.
And
'Cause-
you're gonna
'cause-
get in trouble for that one.
I don't
man.
watch
George.
But it
cartoon
was writing to me.
hero
beca-
movies. And
Like,
I don't watch cartoon superhero movies anymore. Ooh. But I mean, hey, well cucked, Ian. Damn it, that was a pretty good. I forgot if I gave him a point already. I'm giving him another point regardless. If you notice while watching Timcast IRL, Ian does that quite a bit. He just he likes to flip it around. Like Tim will say something, and then Ian will just flip it around and come out on top. This happens over and over. It's part of why he's entertaining to watch.
it was good writing for me, especially because of the war comment. Like, that if you go to the media and say a truckload of soldiers will be blown up, no one cares. And it is disgusting. It is messed up that society just steamrolls over this stuff. That Obama actually killed a 16-year-old American citizen without charge or trial. And there was never any tribunal.
Nope.
There was no criminal charges. Imagine that. You could be the president and just kill American citizens. Like, look, first of all, he was killing children. It's bad enough. You want to make an argument about war? Sure. But bombing a civilian restaurant and killing an American kid? And there was nothing. Nothing. That's messed up. And then I love it when people are like, Obama was great. Didn't Joe Rogan recently call him the greatest president or whatever?
Well, it's yeah. I wouldn't be
think so.
That's
shocked.
cringe.
That's very sad. Speaking of really horrific things that go on in the world that people don't really pay attention to and aren't bothered by, I mentioned earlier we just did a video for Freedom Tunes on Yemen and the fact that the
Yeah.
U.S. has been aiding the Saudis in carrying out a genocide where an estimated 85,000 children under the age of 5 have starved to death because of the blockades that our government has been supporting. It's really disgusting, horrible stuff, but it's part of the plan.
I have a correction. Joe did not say he was the greatest president. He said Michelle Obama. She's intelligent, articulate. She's the wife of the best president that we have had in our lifetime.
What?
In terms of a representative of intelligent, articulate people,
Oh, that's-
she could win. Okay, so that's
Context.
very,
That's
very limited relative to saying you're just the best president. or
Yemen
whatever.
is where Obama bombed Anwar al-Awlaki's
Yes.
son. Is that what it is?
Abdul Rahman al-Awlaki. Just say his name. You don't need to say it was
Abdul.
someone's son.
Yeah, I didn't know his name.
Sins of the father. I don't care. Abdul Rahman.
Abdul Rahman, and that was in Yemen. So this
Yeah,
Yemen
he
stuff
was
is-
born. I think he was born in Boulder. Was living in San Diego. He went to visit family in Yemen,
and he was
they
sitting
were like,
with his dad in the restaurant. Is that
No.
what it is?
No,
or is
he
it in
was
the
not.
building next door?
he was not with his dad. His dad, I believe, was already dead.
Wow.
Because Obama also killed Anwar al-Awlaki, who
And
was an American citizen without charge or trial.
Obama, I think did he state that he did it just to get at the guy's family?
No, his response was, "Whoopsie."
I think I was listening to Drinking Bros, and they were saying that when a civilian gets hit, it's never an issue of precision, it's an issue of intelligence. So when they hit someone, it's because that's who they intended to hit. They just might have been wrong about what they did, which is very stunning indictment of the Obama
The
administration.
statement was that they were trying to target some other guy and they hit the wrong one.
That's
I don't
not-
think so. I think the
no.
statement was, if you're a terrorist, we'll kill your children.
Did he say he should have had a better dad?
I think that was Charlie Gibbs to Luke Rudkowski.
Yeah.
Luke was at DNC. Was it DNC? Yeah, it was like a debate in 2012. I don't know if it was Luke or I can't remember who else with them. Sarah, maybe. But someone asked, what do you have to say?
Oh, a little bit of one,
Obama
bro.
killed a 16-year-old. And the guy was like, I think it was
New
Charlie Gibbs.
subject.
Well, he should have had a better dad. Or maybe that was Peter King. I'm not sure.
Extrajudicial assassinations.
Horrible.
Bad news, dude. This Patriot Act thing's got to go.
So, and you want to talk about the Constitution? That was 10 years ago that Luke was interviewing people about this stuff. Barack Obama killed American citizens without charge or trial, and he's never been held accountable for it. Now, you can argue about Trump all day and night. You want to bring me the indictments against Trump? I'll read them. How about you do that? Then great. Then we come back and then we talk about Obama too. Yeah, we got Luke in chat.
Woo.
Did Luke mention? I see your latest chat, Luke, but I don't see your past one. He just says he said he should have had a better father.
Yeah.
Sins of the father, man, kill a kid. This is just so disgusting.
Another shirt flick.
So disgusting.
Yeah.
All right. Vosh says, you're wrong, Tim. Read The Fountainhead. I started to read Atlas Shrugged, and then I just watched.
Okay, I'm not giving him bonus ones for that.
That's even worse, Tim.
It is absolutely.
That's terrible.
But then what happened was I got about 40 minutes into the movie, and then I decided just to play BioShock instead. BioShock's awesome.
You're gonna get Ayn Rand's philosophy either way.
Yeah, that's right.
God, but then you gotta talk about video games. Why are you doing that? Girls don't like video games, man. It's not that complicated.
Right. Atlas is the bad guy in BioShock. You actually fight Atlas. But it's not like from the book Atlas. BioShock's so cool. What a great game, dude. Would you kindly? That's so good. You guys know what I'm talking about. All right. Jace McNeil says, I could have paid $20K to go and learn to use heavy equipment. I instead found a company who has been happy to train me, and I get paid for it.
Cool.
One of my favorite stories is that back in my old neighborhood, there was a dude who he applied for a job at a warehouse as a forklift operator because it paid like 6 figures, but he was a high school dropout or something. And then when he got there, they were like, all right, so you're going to be using, this rig. And he went, oh, well, I've never used that one before. And they're like, yeah, it's fine. We'll train you. Got a 6-figure job just like that.
That's awesome.
It's funny, isn't it?
It's cool. They'll also train you if you need like a security clearance and you go into a job where it's required. They can help you get that too. So
Count Drago says they removed Nelk Boys and Trump podcast 6 million in 24 hours. Yep. So let me get this straight. If we do a podcast with Trump and I just argue with him, we're good?
As long as you sit there and say, no, that is not accurate. This is what's real.
Exactly.
But you have to say that over and over.
Tim, you can't be like, no, you're much more competent and handsome than you're saying.
We had Bannon here, and he made some.
Okay, well, that was a good thing for Semester. He was like, he was pointing at him when he said competent and handsome, and it gave Tim the subliminal feeling that he's alpha. Hence the shirt flicks. Also, is that true? Did they fucking get rid of that shit? Nelk Boys are gone? Nelk podcast. Oh god, let's see. What? Shit, son. Shit's getting real.
Similar statements, and I argued with him. I told him he was wrong, and I was like, now we have to get into it because you said it, and I'm going to tell you. But I genuinely do think Trump is wrong. I think, when I hear the fraud narrative, the rigged election stuff, I'm just like, whatever you believe, you are discouraging people from getting out and getting in these primaries, and I don't know why you're doing it. But I genuinely think this is a weakness of Trump supporters, where instead of believing they were beat by, as Time Magazine called it.
So that was a shirt flick because he's talking shit about Trump supporters, which, yeah, I think that is probably, Kim does agree with what he's saying right now, I'm pretty sure. She'll probably explicitly say it in 1 second.
Shadow campaign, through mass mail-in voting, through just ground game, getting out there and advocating, going to old folks' homes and here are your mail-in ballots. They all came in the mail. Make sure everybody fills them out. They're just like, it had to be rigged. It's the only way Trump could have lost. And I'm like, or they took away sports, they took away movies, they took away going out with your family, they beat you over the head nonstop in the media, and then they mailed you a ballot and say, you want things to go back to normal? There it is. And people went, okay. That's what I think happened. Anyway. All right, let's see what we got here.
She didn't give a
Weird Time says 25% of Americans attend college. They are the highest paid people on earth. Why does Kim think the 75% of those? Why does Kim think the 75% of those who did attend college? What is it?
Maybe what and didn't is what they meant to put in there. Like, what does she think of the 75% who didn't attend college?
Yeah. Well, I can't really speculate. So there we go. Let's say Brop says, I joined the military at 18, got out and worked for 2 years, then went to a local community college and got a degree in computer-aided drafting. I have an amazing career now, trade school for the win.
Nice.
Well, although, is that trade school if you go to community college?
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm going to look.
Yeah, that was a cute thing to say. Or not a cute thing. That was a cool thing to say. Disagreeing with the narrative. The, conservative narrative.
I'm curious, too.
Not the Bomb says, third super chat ever. Never been read. To Tim's point, I work on semis. I went to school for 2 years for a piece of 18,000 paper. I have learned more working than ever in class. 18K feels wasted.
According to Brave, community colleges are not trade school. They're different.
It can get you ready for it, I think. I don't know.
A Book of Cloud says, from Chicken City, we salute you, O great and powerful chicken overlord Tim.
Okay,
That's
do you
right.
see what he did right there?
Cloud says, from Chicken City.
Wait.
It can get you ready for it, I think. I don't know.
A book of cloud says from chickens.
So he saw that, like, he's about to read that Tim is great and powerful. He couldn't help himself from flicking his shirt.
City, we salute you, O great and powerful chicken overlord Tim. That's right, Chicken City. We've got over 7,000.
So, oh, great and powerful chicken overlord Tim. And he's like, that's right.
subs on Chicken City.
Oh, wow. That was fast.
Fast growing show
When did you start this one?
this week. I don't know.
Wow.
This weekend, yeah.
Yeah, this weekend.
Well, they are entertaining.
Oh, it's great. The drama.
There is some drama in there. I was watching, and you know they're calm for a little while.
Talking about
and somebody
chickens.
does something to somebody.
Talking about Tim's cock. Yeah, see, now she's back. She's back on board.
And there's a
Yeah.
squabble, right? And it's like they're all fighting, chicken
Yep.
fighting.
Pecking order.
Yeah.
Pecking order, man.
We have a night vision of all the chickens
That's right.
sleeping.
That's right.
Chicken
Chicken
City.
City has night
Sleeping?
vision now.
Yeah, they're all sleeping in their little
Oh
So
my gosh,
cute.
they
in
are.
their coop backwards.
Adorable.
They're
Chicken
not supposed to be
butts.
sleeping up there. We built them fancy chicken houses.
kinda
That's
dumb.
awesome.
But they chose to go there instead because
Because they're
not
rebels like their papa.
smart and they don't know.
That they have nicer spots to go.
Well, what we were supposed to do is actually put them in the chicken house every night and like close it until they learn that they
That's where they
actually
go.
have a proper chicken nesting thing we built that goes really
Oh.
high. But they're chickens, so you know.
Dude, shout out to Orion Galaxy and Ham Sandwich in the Chicken City chat.
Woohoo.
That's right.
Go subscribe to Chicken City.
All right, we'll just get this one more. Cornelius Buttknuckle says, Tim is right. Most degrees are pointless. I've recently used the knowledge I've picked up as a machinist of 10 years to design and make a jet engine that burns used isopropyl to propel a Pontiac Bonneville up to 50 miles an hour. Never went to college for machining or engineering. That sounds amazing.
Cool.
but are you getting a job to do that? You know, like, yeah, you could build one in your garage and stuff, but are you actually going to be employed by a company that is going to ask you to actually engineer that and put that into a piece of machinery that somebody's going to risk their life?
Well,
Driving in.
Well, if you're looking for a job about, you know, making an alcohol-powered Bonneville, you're probably going to get hired more like Mythbusters or like a sci-fi special effects or industry. You know, I don't think he's going to go work for Pontiac. You know.
Well, but also I think just the skills he developed as a mechanic might help him in other careers he might pursue related to automobiles.
Sure,
Not
sure.
necessarily that he is going to be doing that exact thing for a living.
All right, my friends, if you haven't already, smash the like button.
Okay.
Subscribe to this
Let's try
channel.
to pause it. Oh, so it's like a cool image, not like that.
Share the
Okay, that's best we're gonna get. Okay, let's do some tallying. So, let's see. How should I evaluate the overall thing? That's the real question right now. What is this? 25. So Kim didn't make me cringe too hard, but goddamn, that one thing she said about bananas. Oh, brutal. So brutal. So, let's... Love compatibility app. Love compatibility... No, stop it. Yeah. There's gotta be like a test. Yeah, let's see what this brings up. Tim Pool Kim. And I guess I'll just do it with percentages, because that is kind of the standard way. So honestly, I'd probably give it like 82% seems a bit too high, but like 75% I think is the overall date rating, because Tim did say a fair amount of Chad stuff. Like, she did laugh at them out as cringe jokes a few times. Another very good sign. But she wasn't afraid to disagree with him. But of course, it's kind of tricky, because part of like the appeal of watching these shows, and they both realize this, is like the disagreements. You know, that's a lot of why people like to watch this stuff. So 31 Wow, really? 34, huh? Okay. So that's quite a few Timchads, but again, I was mixing it with any time he thought he was a Chad by flicking his shirt. Kim Cute. And remember, this is every time she says she like plays along with the social male-female flirtation game by like just like being submissive and breedable and agreeing with like couching her disagreement in agreement, like saying, that's true, but that would count. And also just every time she says something that's cute, or like that like time when she said the chickens were cute, that was like the right thing to say because Tim loves his little chickens. It'd be like, it's basically like complimenting his pets, like, oh, I really love your dog. Whoa, that was crazy. It was pretty funny. I was already in really good spirits, though, so it doesn't really mean much. Every time it's boring. This is honestly a little more than I expected, even. Now, this was the most unexpected metric I found. The Ian cucks. So remember, that was every time Ian basically stole Tim's thunder. And just, kind of out-alphaed him. Like that one time where he said, I don't really watch cartoon superhero movies. Oh, man, that was like a male neg. I don't know what you call that. And Seamus Cox. Anytime he talks about fucking super religious shit, which he didn't do too much, but also every time he does the thirsty beta thing where he agrees with Kim. So yeah, and then obviously you gotta have the female honest ratings. Sorry, Lydia, you're just not that hot. And now we'll just push this down a little bit. So yeah, not too bad. It's impossible to know for certain how it's gonna end up, obviously, because it's up to the two lovebirds. But you have to see them when they're like drinking or when they're hanging out off camera. Also, there's another like hour of show in the like members only thing, and I'm not gonna pay for the members only thing because this show's entertaining, but I as someone who is spending 2 hours talking, or not even, people get tired, so I'd be shocked if the members only section was better. Of course, sometimes they have on like edgy people who can't like really be honest and talk about what they want to talk about, like when Steve Bannon was on. But I don't think that's gonna happen with Kim. She doesn't seem like she's that edgy of a person. We probably saw like the most interesting part of this interaction of the date. So yeah, that about wraps it up. And I will edit this so it's not a shorter version. Until then, peace, bro.